What's happening? What's going on?
Hey.
What's up with you?
Man, another great week, man. Another great week. A lot of good moves.
A lot of good moves. That's good.
Yeah. It's I was talking to Sean today, and I was making this huge distinction. And I was saying that I think people think entrepreneurs are professionals. We're not professionals. Entrepreneurs create professionals, but we're not professionals. And sometimes we get this idea that we look at business as these everybody lives happily ever after, but no one really sees the grind, right? The grind sometimes could just feel like, can I say this real quick? Something that is interesting, another invisible variable. Going from 1 million to 2 million, 2 million to 3 million, 3 million to 4 million is not like getting to the first million. It's just not.
No.
You get to 2 million, and it's almost like you just feel like you've been fighting every day, ain't knocked nobody out, and then you look at your bank account, you're at 2 million. Then next year, you feel like you got knocked down a couple of times, and somehow they raise your hand and say you won 3 million.
And like, what?
Yeah, you feel like, wait a minute, after all that? Right? And it's one of those things where, and then also, to me, say this too. When you go from 1 million, when you go from nothing, where I come from, I'm talking about, no, actually, I come from negatives. I come from borrowed language. But coming from borrowing.
Promises.
Yeah, promises.
IOUs.
Yeah. Let me get back to you. Let me hold something real quick, nephew. So I come from there to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and climbing. It changes your mindset. And you think when you talk to somebody who has a million or has 2 million or has nothing, you're having the same conversation. You never are. You just never are. And it's so important you know that, because I think sometimes as you're climbing, we have a lot of millionaires in this class. I had a chance to meet a lot of them. And just know when you reach back, you're going to sometimes need an interpreter.
But hold on, bro. Hold on, stop. You know how dope that is? To have, because the odds of finding one millionaire in a black community is one in who knows how many. But if there's several in this class, bro, that's dope.
Man, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. It's humbling. Honestly, I don't think this class is ever going to become socially popular. Because we're not entertaining. We're teaching.
Yep, it ain't meant to be.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If I start entertaining, I'm going to sell you empty promises and professional sounding solutions that don't work. And so this class, you don't learn recipes. The reason you can't learn recipes is today, as we flow, we're going to have a conversation class. And in this class, closer to the middle to the end, I'm going to start laying the foundation for game theory, because I'm going to teach game theory for the next 3 or 4 classes. And you'll find that that if you're getting into business, there's a certain point where there's so many different games being played in business, so many, that one book never speaks to all the games. Right? Like if you meet any coach in any sport, no matter how impressive that coach is, for example, let's say you make Bill Belichick. Would he really speak to a baseball player or a golfer? There's so many, or a chess player. There's some things that cross over, and you got to know what those things are. But when you understand life, even in your personal life, there's so many games being played. And if you can't see game theory, it's sad to be in a world where you're one-dimensional in a world that has multiple dimensions. So, that being said, anything else you want to say before we jump to these slides?
Let's get it cracking.
All right. I decided as I was organizing slides, everything you want to talk about, I want to talk about. So let's get that first slide going. Slide 1.
Ooh.
It's still my favorite.
Man, suffering versus gravity. Understanding the nuance difference is a big one. The difference between suffering and gravity. So I wanted to double tap on this one because we have to wrap our minds around what's gravity so we can get comfortable with it, because it's about getting comfortable with the journey, knowing that it is what it is. It's not going to change. Gravity means the weight that's holding you in a particular place is a weight. Gravity is a weight. That's why if you throw a ball up, it comes down. It crashes on the ground. But a lot of us complain like a motherfucker about gravity. Too soft. Stop complaining about simple gravity. You can't get around gravity. Get stronger. Do some squats. Do some air squats at the beginning. Then put some weight on. Then put more weight on. Then eventually you're not worried about how heavy gravity is, because walking's easy, running's easy, jumping's easy. But a lot of us will complain about gravity. Entrepreneurship is so hard. Entrepreneur is so tough. I just lost some money. I just lost an employee. I just had this fire I had to fight. I had this thing happen. That thing happened. Is it suffering or if it's gravity? If it's gravity, shut the fuck up. It's par for the course. That's the game. That's the game. If you're tender-headed, how many black folks we got out there that's tender-headed?
I ain't got no hair.
You got you want cornrows? You complaining about getting cornrows when you tender-headed? That's the gravity of the game. You know it's gonna hurt. Get ready. That's the gravity. You want tattoos? That's a needle going in your arm, going in your body. It's gonna hurt. Don't complain about it. Don't get it then. That's the gravity of getting tattoos. So in business, gravity is gravity, meaning some things, when you talk to other entrepreneurs and you tell them what you're going through and they look at you like, so? That means you're talking about gravity. You're not talking about suffering. You're talking about gravity. So that's why your tribe is good. Your peer group is good. It's par for the course. How many people in entrepreneurship don't take losses?
No.
Like, I had it tough growing up. My childhood was so rough. My parents my mom, I was raised single mother. Okay. That's gravity. It's par for the course, yeah. You want me to pull my violin out? A lot of us was. Not saying that it was ideal. It's you got to get, okay, it's gravity. Got it. Now, suffering is unnecessary. You don't want to suffer. You want to quickly go from suffering to not suffering as fast as you can. You got to make changes in your life to go from suffering to no longer suffering, because you want as much peace and a neutral ground for you to flourish as possible. You see what I'm saying? So suffering is you making decisions to make your life tougher. You're making decisions to make your life tougher, or you're in a tough situation and you're repeating the same cycle and doing it over and over again because you think it's gravity, but really it's suffering. If you don't take your car to get an oil change or to get serviced, and you're like, man, my cars keep breaking down, you are inducing that suffering. Because you ain't doing the right shit with your car. You're inducing that. But sometimes you think, I just have bad luck. Or like these cars, man, they just don't make them like they used to. Like, nope, that's suffering. That's suffering. Or if you don't eat good, you eat bad. And then you have these health issues that you complain about. Suffering. That's not gravity, that's suffering. Don't complain to me about, like, if you're not sacrificing the things that you want for your health, then you're inducing that suffering. You always complaining about how broke you are, but you have income. You're inducing that suffering because you can reduce your expenses, sell off some of that shit, and you'll stop suffering. You don't have to have the latest and greatest new stuff. You don't got to be out every weekend. You don't got to buy the fanciest stuff. Live well within under your means, and you'll stop suffering. It's that simple. I don't have a lot of time. I'm so busy. How much time you spending on social media? Instagram, this, that. You got to know what's going on in everybody's life all the time, but you complain you ain't got no time to build nothing. That's you suffering. Don't quote me on this because my Bible knowledge be a little sketchy sometimes. But I remember something in the Bible where it was talking about these women who were going to go get married, and they had to flick their lights on or put fire in their lights, right? Because they had to go find a husband. I guess a husband was somewhere waiting to choose on them or whatever, right? But I think it was half of them had prepared more. They had gathered more oil for their lamps so that on the journey, if it ran out, they had enough. And the other half was such in a hurry to go that they didn't grab extra. So they just ran out. So then they get halfway or wherever the distance is, and they ran out of oil, so their lights went out. So they went to the ones who were prepared and was like, hey, give me some of your oil. No, suffer. I prepared, you didn't. That's the consequence for not preparing, suffer. So some of that is induced, and I think the distinction between the two is hell of important.
You know, when you open up your soliloquy, name is Stephen A. Smith, it could be assumed that you're being harsh, right? Because you're like, if you tend to hit it, or if you're going through something, go take your ass to the gym if you're weak. But I think what we're missing is that I think there's a degree where we're disconnecting from reality, and we're embracing this idea of the world should be a certain way. Like things should be easier. I shouldn't have to deal with this. I shouldn't have to handle these responsibilities. I shouldn't have to pay all these bills. I shouldn't have to get up and take care of all these so forth and so on. I shouldn't have to struggle. I shouldn't have to give up so much time. I should not be restricted. All these should. Now we all know, based upon cognitive behavior therapy, the idea of should is a cognitive distortion. It's not real. But what they don't realize, what you're suggesting, is that, and I said this in a previous class, name a generation that didn't have problems. So why are we still having a conversation as if this is new? At this point, this is our journey, is to learn from those who've navigated these problems so we can now navigate the problems as adults. I understand when you're 16, 17, 18, and you're like, well, I don't understand why life is full of problems. But, by the way, I tell young people all the time, when you guys want to imitate adults, you always imitate the worst version of adults. You want to smoke, drink, stay up late. Ain't no healthy adults doing that shit, right? But the reality is that adulting is the acceptance of gravity.
Absolutely.
Your masculinity and your femininity is based upon your relationship to gravity. If you have a poor relationship to gravity, it has a contagious effect that starts to impact other areas of your life. So when you get to the point where you're like, oh, it shouldn't be this way. Okay, let's take a simple character, and this is a very simple description, but if you kind of expand it, you can see how it happens. So you're the kind of person that says, I shouldn't have to go through things. So when I do, I wish to what? Escape those things. But what's the cost of constantly escaping those things? It's a certain degree of retardation of your development, right? So now that you're retarding your growth, now you're in a situation where you're older, but you can't compete because you've underserved yourself because your relationship to gravity, right? This not facing gravity is not an issue of strong versus the weak. You got to understand that your avoidance of your gravity is also your immaturity, and it has so many other hidden costs associated with it. And so what bothers me about a lot of this stuff is that, because even some suffering, if you reframe it, can be gravity. Because think about this. Let's go back to the story. So at one point, in my early stages of my business, I wasn't making no money. Let me use the word no. No is a kind word to the kind of money I was making. If there's another word for no that's worse than no, that's kind of money I was making, right? I was living off of $40 a week. That included food and gas. Okay, after I paid $40 a week, I was that broke. I was extremely, extremely broke. And I remember a woman was like, "Hey, let me take you to dinner." I say, "Nah. If I can't take you to dinner, you can't be taking me to dinner. I'm not that kind of man." So I'm broke. She's like, "Well, let me buy your groceries." I was like, "Nah, don't buy me groceries." She just like, "Why is this? What you like? You in the suffering or something? Stay with me. Are you in the suffering?" And my stomach is turning. And I'm talking about, I'm laying on the couch and it's like, I ain't never been this broke a day. I mean, I've been broke. We grew up broke. But it's like, I felt like I was broker than then. Because at that time, we used to go get food from the church when I was a kid. And I felt broker than that moment. Because I couldn't buy nothing. I was at the discount grocery store in San Leandro buying Cornish game hens, like 5 for like $1.50 a piece. Man, I was eating Cornish game hen. I would buy hella potatoes and hella eggs and mix that shit together for breakfast every day. And that shit would make it through the week, right? I had all these, like, I was broke as a joke, right? And my brother finally called. He says, "Hey, man, I heard you doing really bad. You don't have enough money to buy groceries." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I got $1,500 I can give to you right now. I just give it to you. You won't even have to pay me back." I said, "Fuck no." He said, "What? Dude, what's wrong with you?" I said, "I don't know why I'm here, but this suffering is so I can figure out what got me here so I can never come back again. So I'm gonna stay in this space until I figure out what got me here and what's keeping me here, because it has to do something with the way I'm shown to the world." And whether you guys know or not, that was the breaking of my ego, and the breaking of my ego allowed me to change my whole positioning to life. And if I would have surrendered to that moment and let them kind of subsidize me, you know how your brain could take those subsidies and kind of normalize it and get cool with it. And so now you're this man who your woman's buying you shit. I'm sorry, fellas. I don't know how y'all feel. Y'all liberal. Fuck all that. I'm not with that. I'm a different generation. But I'm not into women buying me survival shit. Feeding me every day because I can't feed myself. I am not used to a woman putting gas in my tank because I can't put gas. I'm not saying if it happens in a blip, like a short blip in your life. But the kind of man I was made, it's like manhood had to be earned. I can't walk into my life as well as a woman's life and say I'm a man and I wasn't doing man shit. I'm just being harsh to you. This is how I framed it. So that process of me suffering was actually educational, and it changed me and it molded me, right? You see a lot of entrepreneurs who, like, for example, me and my boy was talking about this earlier today. He was saying a lot of entrepreneurs who receive money doing George Floyd, like $200,000, $150,000, $300,000, it actually damaged them because they got used to that's how the money flows in. So when the next round comes around, they don't get no money. They don't know how to go out and find the money because somebody gave them $200,000 and it's almost like you fed the bear. The bear grew up as a cub being fed by a human being, and then one day the human being goes away, the bear is going to die. So he was like, yo, George Floyd has set up a lot of potentially great entrepreneurs to die because they got this money, but then all the sources that were giving them money dried up. So now they're not trained on how to extract it from the customer, how to extract it from the market, how to compete for that money, like how to build a product that aligns them with the investor, right? None of that stuff is part of their thinking because we remove the suffering of an entrepreneur, which is educational, right? And so, because sometimes suffering is necessary for our own evolution. You know, it's like I don't know about you, but when I'm working out, it ain't all gravity. Sometimes that shit feels like suffering. Like when I'm running, that shit's suffering. Some days I go running and everything in my body is like, do you still believe in Jesus? Because it's time you should call on him. Because my body hurts so bad, right? But what I realize is that So, give this my last point on suffering and gravity, then we can move on. So, I'm in my upper 50s. You understand me? Closer to my 60s. And let me tell y'all right now, when you hit about 51, 52, if you stop working out for a week, it's like stopping working out for like 3 months, right? And you stop working out for 2 weeks or 3 months, it's like you never worked out before.
Absolutely.
So I think the first half of COVID, like 6 months, I had poor workout habits. I'm talking about pathetically poor. My body went into a shape called I'm a protesting working out. Like my body started like I protest exercising. And mind you, I've trained my whole life, but my body didn't agree with me. So all of a sudden, I got to a point, I could still bench press, but that was it. I had no others. I couldn't squat more than 95 pounds, I think it was. Or no, it was like maybe 125 pounds. It was kind of, if you watch it, you'd be like, oh, man, at least you tried, right? It was that bad. And my shoulders was weak. My whole core was gone. I remember the first time I did a leg lift, I felt like I was lifting the world. This all happened in like 6 months. I went back to the gym and I started to experience pain and injuries every day. I was taking an aspirin every night to go to sleep because I was hurting so bad. I had to take me and Aleve, I should have invested in Aleve because I was buying all the stock. So I was taking Aleve every night just to go to bed. It took 2 years of pain to the point where my body finally adjusted, and now I can out-train somebody in their 20s, right? I had to go through that process. I had to go through that. It took almost 2 years. Do you know how many times my brain told me, what the fuck are you doing? You know how many injuries I went through? You know how much suffering? So now if you ever watch me squat, I think her cousin came to see me squat the other day. I squat all the way to the floor. I mean, I'm grabbing as low as you can get and rate because I'm trying to train the whole core. I watch men who are slightly younger than me in their early 50s going, I don't know how the fuck you used to do that shit, right? They can do it themselves, but they won't go through that process of suffering. The demonization of suffering and gravity, if it's been part of the human journey since day one, shouldn't we learn to be the master of it as opposed to being the victim of it? Why we keep talking like we're a victim to suffering and gravity when it's been the journey of all human beings? If anything, we've had it easier than most generations before us. Go look at them shoes they were wearing in the 50s. Their feet were suffering. them tennis shoes was not called, they shouldn't call them tennis shoes. They should have called hard landing shoes. Them shits was like, they were not even fair to the body. And they got through it, right? You can look at a lot of shit they had to go deal with. Even look at the medical system. When you went to the doctor before the 70s, you were going, and that was the last time you coming out. That was like going to jail, but it was an ending sentence. It's over, right? All these human beings have suffered to get us here and dealt with gravity to get us here. And we're whining like we're the first generation to ever hit the earth as if we shouldn't have to deal with it, as opposed to becoming masters of it.
Hey, I want to throw one more thing out is whether it's suffering or gravity, and I'm not knocking anybody who does any of these things, but don't numb your suffering. Don't numb your gravity. Because if you numb it through drinking it away or smoking it away or anything in it away, just to make the time go past of the suffering so you can get through it faster, it's going to happen again.
Worse.
But it could be worse. So if you want to suffer one time, be sober and take notes, because he says something hella powerful. The way you get through it is by being present and learning the lessons, whether it's suffering or gravity. But a lot of us, we're trained, we're wired. Not we're trained, we're wired, but we're trained based on our parents and watching what people been through. When times get rough, I'm gonna get drunk. Stay drunk. Times get rough, stay high. And you will get through it. As long as you stay alive, you're gonna get through that particular wave of suffering. But you have no fucking clue on how to get out of it, what to do next time, the nuances, the details, because you was under the influence. Your senses was numb. And we've all done it. I did it. A lot of the lessons I had to repeat was shit I was going through when I was high or drunk. So I've gone through similar things, but it was more so I'm not drinking or smoking through this. I'm gonna feel this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Every little sting. So now I know how to navigate. So I know it's hard to do for some, but don't numb yourself.
Doesn't that shit make you serious? Like when you go through, if you're present and you go through something and you see how intense it is, your brain you don't allow your brain to play the game of forget about it, and then when it happens again, almost surprised. You know, you watch people kind of go through. You know, I grew up poor, so you watch living in the hood how folks are constantly going through these experiences over and over. It's almost like it's, you know, like you look at a football player goes to the football league and then he loses all of his money, and he acts like if he's the first one. It's like you didn't see the thousands that came before you, huh? Just first time. Like, okay, cool. So, but when you're present and you suffer, it almost like it seals in your brain. It's like it sears into your brain. Yo, this shit is real. Yeah. And it makes you very serious about certain rules, how you move, what you will and will not do, where you will not go, how you move your money, how you spend your money. It creates so much structure in your life because you realize it's not a game.
Man,
it's not a game.
Powerful.
It's not a game.
That's real.
When I think about this, it's like getting buy-in from yourself, because so many times, like, we know the right things, we know what we should or shouldn't do, but some lessons you got to feel pain for them to be real to you. I feel like that grit that we build is what allows us to do great things, is because we have context of pain is what makes all the things that feel good relevant. If you haven't never experienced adversity or pain or failure, you don't really have a reason to even appreciate it. The gratitude is missing. So
yeah. And I think it happens to you too, but it's like once you go through a lot of this shit and you figured a lot of it out, a lot of people sound so fucking weak around you.
Yeah.
Always crying and complaining about stupid ass shit. I'm like, that's gravity, or that's gonna make you stronger, or like people who always like, oh, the world's over. Yeah, it's over. It's horrible. This is like, it's terrible, horrible. But you've gone through this shit sober. You're not the same.
Never the same.
So you call that horrible? Like I've seen horrible. I've seen real horrible. So somebody's mad or let's call that what it is. Once you understand and been through real suffering and gravity, you're also able to really call things how it is. Did you had a horrible day today? What happened? Oh, one customer was mad. No, I've seen horrible days. Because when you go through suffering and gravity sober, it's a different mindset. So this also helps shape you. And you'll look at the world and you'll see complaints. You'll stop watching YouTube because most people are complaining on YouTube about stupid ass shit. Mm-hmm. Like that doesn't mean their feelings and their emotions are built on things that are so much gravity. Like, dude, are you really serious? You a man sitting there talking about some shit like this?
She's a woman. She don't give a who you are.
So
very fact that you want me to like you because some story that you made about who you are, and identify that. And because if I dismiss you, like, at what point can you let an opposite belief just go? Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't need to. You ever see somebody get mad about hella issues, but they ain't never built anything? I don't understand it. How you mad you ain't never built anything? What you mad about? How do you even have a position if you haven't built? Because sitting in your house being theoretical, what you're doing is you're building stories in your head, and then you let the story solidify to become real anger points that can cause real damage to your life. Can you really see, like, for example, like okay, I know this happened to you before. You'll sit down with somebody and say, hey, let's sit down and talk about business. and you're going to do a strategy session with them. And you say, okay, well, you probably should move this. This is a bad investment, so shift your resources from here to there. What they heard is, you ain't shit,
Right.
you're not good enough,
Right.
and I'm a man, I'm greater than you. That's what they all they heard.
Right.
They didn't hear nothing else. And then their brain will start to tell a story. And now they're angry. And then you hear the gossip through somebody when they say, well, you know, Michael said that you fucking hate him and that he is trash and that you're not really into light-skinned black people. You'd be like, wait, what? And then I pull Michael in. Michael, where did I say that? Well, I just felt that's what you meant. There you go. Meaning-making machine. Storytelling. So the reason when I say I don't understand how in the fuck you so upset you ain't built anything is because when you build things, you realize what matters and what doesn't matter. When you ain't building nothing, everything matters. Every fucking thing matters. You ever go to an office where this is, I call lifelong administrator? Like he or she's been working at the office doing administration work for years. And go in there, go and just move something on the desk like this. And they come the next day, I'm really upset. I need to talk to HR. Somebody move my phone. And I just can't tolerate this. Because you're not doing nothing. When you start building shit, hey, as long as the phone there, I don't give a shit if you move from here to way the fuck over here. Maybe there's a reason. Let's just keep rolling. Like it's literally a different form of thinking. And so the low levels of sensitivity, when they get too high, when the low levels of sensitivity gets too high in your organization, it can literally destroy your organization from inside out. Meaning like you weren't destroyed by competition. For example, okay, I asked somebody, I said, who you think's gonna win the AI race? Because whoever starts first don't mean you win. So for example, MySpace was first in social media, and who still uses MySpace, right? So first doesn't mean you're gonna win, right? But you know who usually wins? The strongest team. So if your team is very, very sensitive, I want you to have a business meeting with sensitive people. Oh my God.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question. How many athletes we got? Anybody play sports? Serious sports? All right, give somebody the mic who have.
Oh, you got one right there. You got two right there. You both got mic.
What sport you play?
Basketball.
Basketball. All right, how many years you play basketball?
First to junior year. First grade to junior year. Yeah.
How many times have you been hurt?
No, thank God, no serious injuries, but sprained ankle here and there, hamstring pull, but
sprained ankle.
Probably like 5
or 6 times.
Yeah.
What, any fingers?
Oh,
dislocations.
Yeah, dislocated pinky.
That means it's fucking pulled. The bone just pops out the thing. Yep. All right. So some sprained ankles, dislocated pinkies, hamstring pulls. Who else?
Just a sprained ankle, sprained wrist.
Sprained ankle, sprained wrist.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Sprained ankle, sprained wrist. Didn't you have a big injury though?
Yeah, career ending. Yeah.
What was it?
Femur broke through my hip socket.
Femur broke through, fucking hip bone broke. What about you back there? What sports did you play?
Volleyball, and I'm a martial artist.
So have you ever been injured?
Yes, numerous times.
What have you injured?
Shoulder injury and hamstring.
Shoulders and hamstring.
Yes.
Any hand stuff, legs?
No, thankfully not.
So shoulder. So that means I'm 3 for 3 for athletes who've been injured. Shakina, have you been injured?
I done broke almost every bone in my body.
So you've broke almost every bone in your body.
Knees kicked in, shoulders dislocated going over handlebars, arms break, bones breaking through bodies, sprained ankles, broken fingers, broken toes, and I go back every time.
Okay, so my point is this. As an athlete, can any of you go to other athletes and complain about your injuries?
No.
What would they tell you? Man, if you don't shut the fuck up, get out of here, or get back in the game. Because this is the game. Are you hurt or are you injured? If you hurt, get your ass back in the game. If you're injured, it means you can't move. We can't do nothing with you. That's par for the course. Now, to people who never play sports, that sounds gruesome. It sounds horrible. It sounds, oh my God, broken, dislocated, fingers broke, busting through. That's horrible for people who haven't ever played sports. But to an athlete, that's the gravity of the game. You can't complain about that. You can't talk about that. There's no complaining in that shit.
There's no crying in baseball.
You get what I'm saying? Getting bruised up, beat up, like that's part of an athlete's life. And if you ask anybody who plays at a high level, injuries are just part of it. Did you watch when Kobe Bryant's finger broke and he had the doctor put it back in place so he can get back in the game? Because you're so used to the injuries that you know that that's the gravity that you don't even think about it.
I think sometimes it's important, and like you guys were just tapping on the fact of having the tribe around you. I think, like for me in particular, some of the gravity points or the suffering that's necessary in entrepreneurship, you don't realize that that's just par for the course. And so once you literally have the dialogue, it was actually you, Corey. You was like, oh yeah, that's just what it is. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, well that's cool. Had I known that that's just what it is, it makes it easier to understand that it's just a part of the journey. But when you don't know it, sometimes it feels like man, everything is bad. When it's just that's a part of the process.
Man,
so
Every entrepreneur needs a doula, business doula.
ooh, that's a good one.
Right? Like I watch doulas help a woman process the journey, right? Where she's by herself, all those aches. The worst thing in the world is for the human brain to witness uncertainty. Like you're not sure where this is coming from, why this is happening to you. And that the discomfort of uncertainty amplifies every effective pain, effective realism that you're experiencing. And so this is why entrepreneurs is not a hero's journey. It is 100% a group's journey, because psychologically we cannot. It's so many. There's so many things working against you when you become an entrepreneur. Because once again, I don't give a shit if you've been the most professional, high-ranking director in a corporate America. When you become an entrepreneur, it's something different, and you need somebody to say, yeah, this is part of it. Mm-hmm. This is what it feels like. Mm-hmm. But if you're surrounded by people who are witnessing self-help gurus all day long and reading self-help books and reading all these recipes of how these things are supposed to work, when your meal comes out bad, you start to think, is it me? Don't realize that's what every chef had to go through to become a chef. Like I taught my daughter since day one, your mistakes is letting you know that you're learning. Mm-hmm. If you're not making any mistakes, then we're not doing something that's not challenging enough. There's no value for you, right? But many of us is taught we take in mistakes and reframe them as a statement of our personal value, almost like saying we're a mistake. And no, everybody in this room is gonna make hella fucking mistakes, and yet we should not see ourselves as a mistake. All right, ready for the next one? Mm-hmm. Let's get the next slide.
All right, man. We didn't space these out at
man,
all.
nah,
We
bro,
going straight.
No, I did on purpose.
You put the clip in and just start unloading.
Yeah, it was like, what? I know another one.
Oh man, let go or be willing to. Like again, there's no way that you can grow or improve your situation by holding on to what you know. There's no way. The two do not coexist. It cannot work. It's insanity to think that we can hold on with what we know but get different results in life. If my life, it goes back to the suffering too. The reason why I think Nana said that, because I've been there too, is that hold on. I need to go through this. because I need this to break me so I can break my ego up so I'm willing to listen and learn and take new feedback and change my programming. If I'm broke as fuck, if I have nothing, if I'm struggling, if I got EBT cards and got no money at the end of then I have to be willing to let go all of what I think I know about business, money, my disciplines, life, because I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. So what the fuck do I look like arguing with somebody who got it and I don't got it?
Happens all the time, every day.
Why would I argue with somebody who got it? And I'm like, remember this. If there's a cheat code to entrepreneurship, one of the fastest ways to get out of your situation is to let go of your current situation. Like this. And you'll go to people for help. You'll go ask people for help. But if the help doesn't coincide with what you know, you ain't listening. What? But what you know got you stuck. What you know got you stuck. So then you know what the next thing is? What you say? Well, then suffer then. Call me when you're tired of suffering. Call me when you're sick of suffering. Because it's going to happen. So, be willing to divorce your beliefs. Everything's on a chopping block. Because the things that you really agree with, the things that you really down for, the governing beliefs that's down here that you like, well, no, I'm not changing that one. They may be connected to beliefs that you have on the surface that you got to let go. Your idea about fairness, your idea of what's good, your idea of what's bad, you got to be willing to chop those up. And you may have been born with this or raised with this particular ideology and belief, and you got whoopings for it. I don't know if you ever grew up like we did, and two people got in trouble.
Everybody got in trouble.
Two people got in trouble. Youngsters. The belt's sitting right there.
Everybody got a line.
Who did it? Who did it? First, nobody's talking. The person who didn't do it says, I didn't do it. One got a whooping for doing it, and the other got a whooping for snitching.
Yeah.
So you got taught early snitching's bad.
Yeah.
You got whoopings for snitching. How, as a parent, how do you justify understanding that, teaching that? Hey, don't be a snitch. Hey, good job not snitching on your brother, to me. So some of us have been raised with these fucked up ideologies that at the level where if you want to make millions and multi-millions, you got to let it go. Jordan knows it's nothing but blacks and Mexicans at Court Smith. So guess what? That no snitching shit is real. I had to cuss people out plenty of times. Like, this ain't the fucking hood. I need to know everything that's going on in this motherfucker.
Oh, God. No, I've lost my yo.
Like, that's hood shit. The stupid hood shit. At the business level, because me not having one layer of data or information could skew my whole decision-making process, and I can make a left when I should have made a right. I could fire this person when I should have fired this person. Or this person looks bad, but in actuality, he was trying to save the company. I need the data. So no, we need intel. That's just one example. And I had to learn how to let that go too. No, I like the people around me who can give me the information so I can make a wise decision. So we got to be willing to let go. This is one that's so close to my heart, is because it held me back for so long. I thought I was doing the right thing, being upstanding, being solid, being a real dude. And guess what? You get no credit for being a real dude, and you still ain't got no money.
Still broke.
Nobody give a fuck about that.
No one gives a shit.
Nobody cares. Only you know you was a real person. I was solid, man. So understand, be willing to that's why some people don't want to read books from people that don't look like them, or learn from people who's not their same gender, or this and that. Like, shut all that shit down. You want to find the answers. You want to find what works, but you got to be willing to let go. Like, raise your hand if your life is exactly where you want to be right now. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if your life is close to exactly where you want to be right now. What about half? What about a quarter? Then what the fuck are y'all holding on to what you know then? Let it go. I'm a dummy. I don't know shit. Teach me. Like, everything is on a chopping block. Everything. My beliefs, my religion, my philosophies, my everything. Because if it works for me, then it's gonna stay. Don't be afraid to chop it, because if it was real, then it's gonna pass the test. My relationships, anything, my friendships, everything. Because I want to be successful. What price am I willing to pay for success? The price I'm willing to pay, one of them, is letting go of my bullshit beliefs that don't serve me, don't help me grow.
You literally inherited those beliefs, and you didn't choose them, right? You didn't choose them. So a lot of times the way those beliefs show up is the stories you tell about your past. And you ever met the dude who was popular when he was teen, and now he's like 40 years of age, and he's in a young club, and he's still telling stories about his wins and his successes and his best nights in his teens? And you look at him like, damn, this dude ain't growing up. Well, many of us are moving the same way in business and life, period, because we tell these stories that we think makes us strong or reflects that we're down or we're aligned or what we went through, but we don't realize those same stories or the stories are actually limiting what we can see and our possibilities. Let me share this one. I'm gonna play with this concept a little differently too. I mean, I was 22 years of age, and there was this group called the GQ Crew. We used to wear suits every day. We just wore suits and fedoras, and we wore Panamas, and we wore fancy shoes. Like, we was dressed up, silk ties, like from the 50s. And so we was dressing up all the time. And I never forget. So me and my boy, we would go to San Francisco, and we would go to a place called, I think it was called American Rags. They used to have all these high-end used clothes, and we would get all these high-end suits, right? And we'd get them home, and we'd take them to a tailor, get them cut up. So I had a closet full of suits, 21, 22 years of age. So you would think, well, what kind of money you got? I didn't have no money. But I dressed like I had all the money. If you saw me, I was known everywhere I was. Damn, you see what Nana got on? I knew that was going to be the conversation, right? I even got pictures of that time. One of these days I share them. But sometimes I giggle like, nah, I'm not doing it. Because I got too many people tell jokes, especially Jasali, because I told all those fat jokes when he was fat. Anyway, point is this. So, see, Jasali, I still got my jokes coming. But anyway, so I never forget, we was riding in one of my partner's cars. And it was like a hoopty, almost like a Datsun B210, like one of those real old school hoopties. And I said, you know what, fellas? I think we got this shit backwards. I said, I'd rather be catching a bus or driving a raggedy car and wearing a pair of shorts and t-shirt every day and have a nice house. That's hella G'd. The word was G'd, like being fly. Then have all these clothes on and have a bank account that's suffering from poverty. That allowed me to start the early stage. That was my seed of reframing reality, saying, I'm not loyal to this fucking belief system. This is silly. I'm playing a fucking trend. Then I watched, as I was growing up, all the cats that were my age that was drinking. They was drinking. They would be at the club, getting at the chicks, everybody going to the club. And I was like, that shit don't make sense to me. All of a sudden, when I first hit 40, I go to a concert. I was like, damn, these are my old motherfuckers here, babe. What would you guys make this old ass concert for? She said, babe, they're your age. I said, well, god damn, they don't look my age. These motherfuckers, they need heart pacers and fucking oxygen in this motherfucker, right? And it was all that drinking was, once again, they embraced this story, this idea, the cultural rhythm, what everybody was doing, and it paid off a certain way. And then I was talking to my girl the other day, and I said, isn't it crazy how some of the brokest people we know are some of the best dressers I've ever met? What are you saying, Anna? What am I saying this? Am I picking on great dressing people? No. I watched him dressed like, I'm talking about, I met this one dude, and he had a straight, basic blue-collar job, but he dressed like GQ needs to come talk to him. And I said to myself, we can lie to ourselves so long, we start thinking we live in a certain kind of life. And this is when it shocked me. When I first started this class, I think I asked everybody bring I think $200 or $300. We want to do something special for them. I was gonna put most of the money up, but bring $200 or $300. I got more emails of I don't have that kind of money right now. I just don't have. But I eventually had a house party I had a party at my house. Why everybody show up to my house in luxury cars? You don't have $200 or $300? You have a luxury car? You're gonna find that there's so many I call feel-good poverty rhythms in our community, where people dress, the kind of cars they drive. You know, I gotta have these kind of Jordans on. I gotta wear this kind of, I gotta have this kind of jewelry. I gotta have this kind of cell phone. I have these standards. I gotta get my nails and hair done this way. I gotta only buy this product. I'm gonna ask myself, and I get it. Okay, let me be very fair. When you suffer from poverty, you need some things to do that make you feel better. Because poverty is a heavy ass weight. I don't know if y'all been through that shit. If you come from a middle class family, but the weight of poverty, the reason people who in poverty buy more lottery tickets, they're buying hope. They're not buying a ticket. And you got to respect that. Right? You got to respect that. But you got to, if you want to go down this entrepreneur path, I'm talking to those who want to go to this entrepreneur path. This is not a judgmental comment I'm making. This is not a judgmental setup I'm creating here. But if you decide you want to become an entrepreneur, you're going to have to break some of the popular trends. You're just going to have to. You're just going to have to. Because a lot of these ideas that you don't want to let go, you get social status for them. So let's say one of the biggest illusions in the world is I'm the baddest cat on the block. There's no such thing. It's the dumbest fucking idea I've ever. Look, one person will walk behind you, shoot you with a gun. How did that bad save you? Nothing, right? Like it's not such thing. So whatever idea you have, the community will give you temporary rewards for it. And sometimes that's all you get when you're in poverty. So there's a strong inertia driving you to hold on to these values. And it's culturally reinforced. You gotta know you're gonna have the courage to literally say, I'm gonna walk away from the trend. Here's my last point, and I'm done with this one. I was talking to this nutritionist at the gym the other day, and I was like, you know what's crazy about food and weight loss? Because I've been shaving off weight for who fucking knows how long, and still got to keep going. And then even when you shave it off, it ain't a destination. It's just you got to maintain a new lifestyle. So I was talking to him. I said, you know what's crazy about food? That black people are not prone to heart disease and diabetes and the things that we hear about all the time. It's cultural. Our culture shapes our eating.
Yes.
So black people culture has an outcome of diabetes. And I said, but here's the fucked up part. You know what happens when you decide you want to really eat healthy? You actually break away from the culture.
From the tribe, yeah.
The tribe literally Because the culture could say, we're going to do this. You'd be like, I can't do that. And the culture sometimes even get offended. Like, what the fuck you mean you can't do that? You miss those ribs?
Yeah.
That's Uncle cooking those ribs. You're like, yeah, but I can't. I'm trying to do this. And Uncle over there got them, the dark black cheeks because they got their, something's going wrong, right? Because, you got a little too fat. Now the cheeks turned dark black, right? And it's like, and he be like, you ain't gonna miss these ribs. You eat these ribs. And you don't realize that eating different literally creates another cultural experience for you. So trying to be healthy is not just about going to the gym and eating healthy. It's about changing your cultural rhythms, because you're not going to become healthy if your if your wife, your husband is still cooking bad foods, if everybody's still bringing bad foods in the house, if everybody's still eating bad food rituals, if everybody's still identifying this emotional connection to the foods they're eating. How the fuck you think you're gonna sit around and eat some salads and some organic shits and some vegetables and shit like that? It ain't gonna happen. Like you'll be eating a salad and be biting the rib and eating the salad together, trying to feel like I'm justifying. At least I ate some of my salad too, right? And so what I'm saying is that let go or willing to be or willing or are you willing to? Is that you got to realize that letting go is not just a decision of just letting go. It's going to be a cultural shift, a life shift. It's going to be an act of courage. You're going to feel friction. You're going to have resistance. You're going to even be teased at certain points. And people going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Here's the funny part. But when you cross that threshold, you're now celebrated and valued and worshiped. And oh my God, I wish I was you. And how do I get there? And every time somebody asks you, how do I get there? You already know it's hard for me to give you this advice because you don't see what's coming.
Hey, and here's the thing too. If some of you have the ability to let go, some of you will hold on to the new version. You got to be willing to let go of that too. And that too. Like, because it may be super hard for you to let go of this one thing to go over here. But you also that's on the chopping block as well. I remember when I was young and my goal was to just make it out the hood. So I ended up getting a job, wife, my son, and I moved and I rented this giant house. I rented this big ass house. And it was with my coworker. And so we living good, big ass house, SUV, two new cars, one SUV, one car, house furnished. I'm living the life. I think I made it. And so one day my coworker / landlord pulls up in a brand new car. I said, "Oh, that's nice. It's a nice car." And she was a Filipino woman. She said, and she was very like she was just loud and just talk. She would just talk loud. So she say, "You pay for it. You pay for it." I said, "What you mean I pay for it?" She said, "Yo, this house paid off. You pay for it." I said, "I'm paying for the car?" She said, "Yeah, this house paid off. So you paying this car note and the rest go in my bank account." So she was like, "I'm going to tell you this as a friend. You only get to live here 1 year. You got to buy a house after this. Like, bring good juju to my house. Everybody who rents my house, buy a house afterward." I said, "All right, what's buy a house?" I didn't even know what it was. But that I immediately, when she told me I was paying for that new car, belief gone. Whatever, I'm throwing this out the trash. Throwing this in the window. Throwing this out the trash. Cool. Well, I'm about to adopt a new belief on home ownership. And that's the game. You're constantly, easily, does this work or it doesn't work? Gone. Does it? At level 1, the belief you change to doesn't work at level 2. So it's gone. Oh, man, but I love this one. So what? Gone. Level 2, that doesn't work at level 2. And fucked up part is it may work at level 5, but you won't know that till you get there. So that's the game you got to play. Next slide.
Next slide.
Oh,
Bro, I ain't like you read. Nah, bro. Go ahead.
hey. We don't need another hero. Have y'all ever listened to Tina Turner? We don't need another hero. Hero complex. hero complex is the killer of business growth. Now,
Dad, sorry, man.
yeah, no, real talk. Now, at the beginning, when you starting the business and you have a vision, you have a goal, you have a dream, you want to do something big. Like that initial idea, it can help you spark something because you literally got the delusion to believe that you could do it. But it'll stifle your business. You're stuck. You're stuck because the hero complex means there's something that happened in my life, whether I didn't get enough attention as a child, I was a loser, and I didn't get, I was ignored. Whatever pain that I went through gives me the necessity to where I need to be the hero of my story. Something happened to all of us. To all of us. So when I'm building something, I subconsciously make sure that I'm in the way to where I have to either fix it, save it, give my expertise, my influence, something to where I know that I saved it. It was me. Position myself. I had this one employee, like clockwork. And the thing is, she didn't even know she was doing it. She'd say, I was working with Jordan, and Jordan was stuck for a little bit, but I helped him out. So now he's up to speed. Every time. Not you specifically, but I'm just giving an example. Every time. To where I just need to remind you that this happened, I saved the day, and now everything's smooth. And I'm like, she don't even realize that she's heavily stuck with this hero complex shit.
It's addictive.
Yeah. And so once it gets embedded subconsciously, then you always the center of your story. You can never just kick back and shut the fuck up. You can't be Batman. I mean, you can't be Robin to somebody's Batman.
Come on now, that's the part right there.
Like it's not in you. And you think it's going against your values. No, you just have a hero complex. You can't hold nobody's coat. You're not humble. You don't know how to get out the way.
You can wash somebody's feet.
Yeah. You don't know how to be the last. You got to learn how to be the last. You got to learn how to shut up. You don't know everything, and you may not be the right person for the situation. Sit back and observe. And if you have a business and your phone's blowing up because every single thing has to go through you, man, like you're moving at the speed of your 8 hours day, and that's headed for disaster. And it's easy to sit up here and say, but you really have to give a conscious effort. After I taught class the last time about this, I'm sitting, and so I said, hey, managers meeting. So all my managers lined them up. Check this out. Don't call me no more for just, Court, can you help me? Court, I need this. I need you to call me and say, hey, I'm stuck here, but this is my solution. What do you think? Until we get a rhythm to where you got it, and you know the last 5-6 times out of the last five times out of 5, my solutions were the same things that you agreed on. I don't need you, because I don't want to be in the middle. It's like I need to go. I need to go steer the company to a better place. I can't be here approving $50 here, or we stuck here. But some of that's my doing. So my current suffering, when I sit back in the morning meetings and hear victim tones, you know what it comes from? It's because I fix shit too fast. People, what I'm saying, I fix shit too fast. And I sometimes, for the sake of wanting not to be the hero and create agency in my company, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I will have the answer and I'm sitting there biting my tongue. Fuck. And I hear them going back and forth and getting stuck. And now 15 minutes. It's B, okay? It's fucking B. Let's move on. But guess what I did? I clipped the butterfly. So then, fast forward, I'm like, damn, my team needs more agency. It was me. It's me. So no more calling me, asking me. You call me, if you stuck, have a solution in hand. What would you do? And I'll just say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Or I think that's a great idea. Let's move with it. So that you know.
You know, real quick, there's two things. You know, the danger of being a hero is self-neglect. Every hero I ever met neglects themselves. Every hero, because you don't realize time gets away from you. You're so busy saving everybody else, you have no time for your personal value. You have to put yourself first so you can show for others stronger. But if you're constantly heroing people, you'll miss your gym time. You'll miss your meditation time. You'll miss your reading time. You'll miss your just cool the fuck down, reset your brain so your brain can take all the experiences from the last week and manifest innovation. Right? You miss all of that because you're so busy trying to save the next man, the next person, and the next person. You know, like a lot of activists are the brokest people you've ever met in your life. They're trying to save everybody besides saving themselves. They apply all their intelligence on what everybody should be doing, and that intelligence is almost empty for themselves. So the cost of being a hero is not only are you horrible. Okay, business is about teams. That's just what it is. It just is. I don't give a fuck what you think it is. Business is always about teams. If you don't get this hero thing right first, your ability to build a team is almost impossible. Imagine, I would even argue, I'm gonna go a little bit further with this, and because I can fight, is I believe that most people are playing hero roles in their relationships. Have you ever seen a relationship where both people are trying to serve each other? That's called long marriage. that's called a long ass relationship. Yeah. But what you'll find with most of the time in most relationships is the imbalance comes because somebody is trying to hero the relationship and or hero the situation. And a lot of times you don't realize is that the opposite of being of serving somebody is I got to protect myself because I have to hero myself from what you could possibly do to me, as opposed to can you serve? Now you might say, well, no, you're kind of going far. But that level of servitude needs not to be foreign to you. Let me tell you why it needs not to be foreign to you. So I heard Pastor Chris have a message, and he was preaching about relationships. And he's like, a man is taught in Christianity not to have sex before marriage. He goes, but you know how hard it is the first night when you get married and you've never had sex and it's always been a bad thing to all of a sudden have sex with a woman for the first time? He's like, that turning that switch on is almost close to impossible. The same thing happens with turning on the switch for serving. One of the things I've seen, and I will get into this in future game theory classes, is a lot of times your employees are playing a different game than your business is playing. So your business might be playing the game of competing and providing the best possible service and best possible experience for your customers. But when you hire soft, fragile people, they're playing personal value game. They may be playing a gender race game. They may be playing a young person rebel without a cause game. They may be playing black hood game. They may be playing black I don't give a fuck because I got other things that's more important game. And because they haven't unified under this core game, which is serving the customer. Have you ever went to a cafe and the people are just weird? They're just fucking weird. Now you sit with the owner's like, no, I'm here to provide the best possible service, the best possible product, and compete against competition and grow my business. But your employees are on some other shit. Mm-hmm. And because they have different games they're playing within the actual game you playing. Mm-hmm. Now you might say, well, no, what's causing some of that breakdown? just like a parent needs to establish a strong game for the household. So even when the kids decide to play a different game, the kids are playing golf even though they're basketball players, right? Meaning the household needs to have a superior game, and then the game they play on a lower level is just a hobby, but they all understand that they play in a core game. Where am I going with this? And I'm going to get into game theory, like I said, further later. What we don't understand is that servitude has to start at the top. Heroes, a lot of people who have hero mindset will destroy the ability to create servitude amongst their team. Why is that? A hero quite often is a control freak. Let's call it what it is. A lot of times a control freak, servitude escapes them. They say they believe in it and they do it in their heart, but it kind of escapes them. And because even though you will profess to your team you're in the servitude, provide the best service for your customers, you move in a way that doesn't suggest you're in the servitude. And they take cues from you, which then allows them to run their game. So now on your field, instead of you having all baseball players, you got a basketball player over here, a football player over here, a tennis player over here, a soccer player over here, and a hockey player. And you wonder why the fuck y'all can never get together and win this business game. You got to learn. You got to learn how to play this different game of turn the heroism down. Learn to be on the team. Learn to be last. Learn to wash the feet. Jesus said, "Let me wash your feet." Right? Learn to wash the fucking feet. And don't, if you pastors, don't say it like that. Like paraphrase that. But anyway, point is this: learn to wash the feet. Right? And so what I'm suggesting is that I can't begin to tell you a lot of hero complex is you actualizing your trauma. You're actualizing your trauma. And you're going to have to fight it. I'm not here to be a psychologist and go, well, you know, the 7 different ways to fight a hero complex, which I could do that if y'all want me to do that in class, but I don't see why. I feel like give y'all some agency. Go figure that shit out. But you're going to have to learn that the hero game, it's almost like you're in a world of human beings. You're a herd animal, but you're trying to run it by yourself. You can't. You can't. You're running at an inefficient, low-level, low-performance lifestyle. Heroism looks good in the temporary moment, gives you that status kind of gift in the moment. But if you look at your outcome, your accomplishments, and things you're able to achieve, even look, Beyonce, one of the baddest. She's a Michael Jackson of this era, right? I bet she has a big-ass team. I want to bet, and she's one of the hardest working entertainers in entertainment. Period. Right? I bet your team hella big. Because as she grew, she realized it can't just be her dancing and telling me put a ring on it. It ain't enough. There's a whole infrastructure that has to support for that system to continue to function and stay at number one. I heard, like, I didn't go to the concert because it was a little bit too different for me. I'm not that type of concert. But she's one of my most respected artists because to me, I think she's amazing. One of the top amazing artists in the game. I heard her concerts are freaking amazing.
Right.
The production is insane. She didn't do that by herself. She didn't organize that by herself. I need that light to come on next. Okay, you got to hit that move over there. Make sure that food stand. Okay, think about safety. Sure, who's paying insurance? Make sure the numbers are moving. It's infrastructure. So I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna use current news. I watched Damon Dash for a second. And I don't know. I didn't know the details or anything. I just watched him talk and I said, it's not true. And somebody turned to me and said, why is that not true? And I said, because he's too much of a hero to do those things. It's not possible. Who would work with him? What team does he have working with him at that type of attitude? Could you imagine having a manager like, what I say? So pause, you're soft. You'd be like, I can't. You're lowering the quality of people that's going to work for you. So heroism, it has all these counter effects that Damon Dash is an entertainer right now. He is not built. People who build certain kind of businesses, they're almost like monks because they learn how to work with other people and emotionally sit with other people and decode the moment and also how to fall back. So like 510 Media is making decisions every day that I'm not even aware of until they're done. I see projects running in my company all the time. I'm like, wow, that's a dope project. Who did that? Oh, we did. I didn't know we did that, right? Do you understand the process of letting that go? Letting that go. I walk down the street. Nobody's like when I first started 510 Media. It's like, oh, you're part of 510 Media. I'm like, yeah, that's me, right? You know, East Oakland. That's me. I can walk to a branding convention made in Oakland, and people are like, well, and who are you, sir? Like literally, you're not only letting go the actual business, you even letting go the personal branding that's connected to it. Heroism is a cold ass animal, and many people will not be able to get over the hump of scaling. I got friends right now who could have franchised going way past a certain point, but they cannot grow their company past them. Heroism.
Yeah.
Now, before we go to the next slide, let me ask you a quick question. I was selling this drink. If I was selling this drink in the store, and I'm in competition with other waters, and the drink was super dented, what would you say to me? If I say all my cans are dented, so they get to the store, they'll all be dented. What would you say? What would you say to me?
Why?
Like, would it be a bad idea?
Yes.
Okay. What if I got to all my drinks and some of them are cracked open? You always say what to me? Bruh, what are you doing? What if I was working on a car that day and some of them had some oil smudges on the cans? Bruh.
You know.
Okay. What if I only put one on a shelf where everybody had hundreds?
You don't believe in competition.
Give me some other bad ideas I can do if I was selling a drink in a store. What are some other bad ideas? Anybody?
Half filled up cans.
Cans halfway filled.
Inconsistent taste and flavors.
Inconsistency. Ooh, that's a big one. Anybody else?
Mixed product, like containers being different. So like how the brand consistently changes, so you don't have enough time to resonate in somebody's brain.
Okay. What about even bad designs? What if my designs just look like don't drink that?
Or bad
I'm trying to tell you it's refreshing, but the shit look like syrup, like medicine syrup or something. I'm like, no, this is the best drink out there. Mind you, I'm not there to sell it. So it's sitting on the shelf and has to exist by itself. Doesn't come with me sitting in front of there with a booth like you do at a fair or festival. You know, they go festivals and fairs sometimes are the worst places to measure your business because the customer has a different mindset that won't exist outside that festival. So you think because you're successful at a festival, that's a horrible scaling idea because would it be successful if you're not there? So if this can't have a sale, what has to be true if the person who owns it won't be within miles of that product? What has to be true?
It has to stand out. It has to be attractive, and it has to create trust for them to even look at it, to consider
Well
it.
said. So remember those three that she just put out there. Anything else? So give that to the people at home can hear you. Just say it real quick so people at home can hear.
The experience of what's inside the container needs to match what's outside the container.
Okay. Does product positioning matter also?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where chef, like for example, if you're in Target and they put you way back in the corner, you know where they have the family picnic area, and then they have those things back there. The moment unless you're having an outing, you don't go in that area. What if they took your drinks and just put it way back there in the corner, and then you had seats and chairs and umbrellas and blown up pools and everything, and on the ground back there is my drink.
Well, also too, I think like product positioning matters too, because you'll see some brands. So for example, everyone has gotten okie doked by like hunger cravings or being in line, and the thing that's right at the register is the thing that you're going to get. So they've got the coolers and the snacks and all the stuff. When you have dope product placement in your contracts, you can say, okay, not only am I going to be in the aisles for this said product in beverages or in clothing, but I'm also going to be on the way to checkout, so that there's multiple touch points for brand exposure.
So multiple touch points, proper positioning. What if I put you in a dark area? And everything else is in the light. What if my description is not really clear and no one's developed trust with me. So you like on this can, it may state the calories, the sodium level, and mine's I say it got some shit in it. It put on the shelf. It could work in some cases, right? It depends on who you're selling to, but for the most part, if you're not there, people be like some shit in it. I even get the shit up. It's like, okay, so human beings have this purchasing thing where they're path dependent. So you buy the same thing you've always been buying. Even though something might be better on the shelf, for you to break your path dependency, it takes a minute for you to change path patterns, right? So if you're going to get a Coke and you're used to a Coke, and then my drink is right next to a Coke and it says it's some shit in it, it got hella calories, but it's trying to do the best it can, you'll be like, just get the Coke. And now, it doesn't mean you won't try it if you got extra money, but it's more likely you won't fit that space of I'm thirsty and I want something of what I want. So we said the can look, branding design, trust variables, positioning. What else did you add? Was there anything else you had in there? Go ahead.
Too old to remember.
The price of it. Is it discount? Is it?
Pricing. So if you got that pricing. If this is $10, and when you drink it, it's just sparkling water. What the fuck? This. When I see none of it, it's on site. I want my $9.95 back. so pricing, right? Pricing matters. Or what if you place in placement, the pricing and placement is incorrect? So for example, if you have a nice wine and you place it with the $3 wines, everybody who's buying a $3 wine, mine has a frame set, so you have to place it with the $25 wines for it to be part of the conversation. Next slide. You are a product. Those rules need to apply to you. Are you analyzing yourself the way you analyze your products? Every day.
Cold.
Your personal life, your relationships, your business, your leadership, you're a product. Do you move for trust? Or you just move and do what the fuck you want? Do you position yourself to look a certain kind of way based upon the business you run? Or you just wear what the fuck you want to wear? Do you figure out who you need to hang around, where you need to be for customers to say, I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to collaborate with you. I want to work for you.
That's cold.
You the product. Many of us are focused on these outside things because going back to the hero concept, we don't realize, before you work on all that stuff, how are you showing up? I'm going to tell a messed up story. So I went with a family member. I'm going to try to keep names out of, change names to protect the innocent. And I went with a family member to the doctor. And the doctor walked in and she was sloppy fat. The face. I mean, she was like this. Like I'm looking at her fat. I can't stop looking at her fat. I'm like, you're a product, right? I'm keeping the shit 100. It's okay. Being overweight is not what I'm talking about. See, being overweight, she had a little stomach. Okay, cool. Maybe her schedule didn't let her work out like that, right? Let's say she's a little older, maybe a little extra wrinkles, maybe a little double chin. Okay, cool. No, she was unhealthy fat. Like I was literally mapping her fat like I was AI going to rebuild her.
Oh my.
Jesus Christ.
Sir.
Like literally I was just, Jesus Christ. Right? But I'm sitting there going, you're destroying trust because I'm not in here because I'm another doctor. I'm in here to start with trust. I'm looking at you, tell me about health. You don't believe in it.
No.
You signaling to me, now it could be that you're going through something. It could be that you're just genetically built like that.
What, big bones?
No, it was beyond big bones. It was just like, I even looked at her ankles and see if her shoes was holding up. Like I was going through the whole process like, oh my God, okay.
You even make me sound bad, and I'm a trainer.
Hey, but no, I'm just saying, it wasn't meant to tease her, nor what I announced, so I don't want anybody to trace this back to this person. But I kept thinking to myself, you have an obligation to, if you want to be successful as a doctor, to look like a fat person who works out. There's fat people who work out, they look like they're healthy looking. You're like, oh, okay, you're kind of cute even, right? Mm-hmm. There's a kind of weight where you're like, oh my God, you won every beer contest. Every one, huh? Like her name should be Bud. Like it's just so, okay. It was bad, bro. It was really, really bad. And that's what they're going. Then this person walks in the room. Watch, stay with me. Your product. Person says, I wish I can, but it's flu season. No mask on. It's flu season. I said, okay, look, okay, I can't. This is really hard on me. I said, let me ask you something. Isn't flus passed through aerosols? She said, yeah. I said, so is there a flu that you could touch and it just goes into your body? No. So you just following procedures? Well, it's important to be safe. I said, so did you open that door? Because I touched the door. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm gonna stop right here. Go on, take care of this situation over here. Right? But watch this. We left that doctor and I said, you can't trust that doctor. Because some of the things the doctor is talking to you about is based upon statistics and probability, and they want you to make a certain decision to gauge the possibilities. But the doctor only over anchors safety over possibilities and probability. So the doctor was an advisor. The doctor pushed all the extreme fears, right? And the doctor was echoing their political stance. On top of that, too, there was so many variables there that said, I don't feel comfortable with your opinion. I need to find a second opinion. Okay, that's okay with a doctor because you have an option. What happens when it's your business? Give you a side note. So one of my old clients who paid us millions in the past, she's retired, but she made sure that millions went into my company. She came to visit us and have lunch with me, 2 weeks ago. She walks in the office, she says, my God, does everybody fit in your office? Damn, you was right there. She's like, y'all must, what is this? What's going on in here? It's a mindset in my office. Stop it. Stop it. Let it go. But the point was that you are a product. You are a product. When you walk outside, this is why you don't get to curse people out in the streets. You are a product. This is why I don't take on certain political positions that just release some anger. You're a product, right? You are a product. This is why you don't see me on social media with no crazy videos. I'm a product. And because I'm a product, I'm thinking about in my household, to my children, I'm a product. So every decision I make and how I position myself and how I talk and how I carry myself is because I'm trying to strengthen the perception of my product. If I came in a house and I walked in the house using B and N words, I'm smoking up a little, man, every once in a while, I don't give a fuck, man, put that one cut on from this one rapper, woo, 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 woo. Then turn around and say, I don't understand why y'all don't respect me. I need to respect your daddy. You're a product. Mama, daddy's a product. You don't get to be what you want to be. You got to think about what product you want to be and then design your life to be a product.
That was cold. That was cold. Yeah, I'll add your brand too. Your brand. So when they see you, they think of you. All of the sum totals of you being a product is what people think about you. You always constantly getting feedback to see what your brand is, and you're curating it. So important. That this equals sacrifice. Because hell yeah, we want to do hood rat shit with our friends too. Don't you, Fern? But you can't.
You can't do it no more.
You can't. If you're building a business that the public sees. If you're building a business around the public, you can't do hood rat shit. Out of town. Don't tell my secret. Go out of town, by the way. But real talk, it's your brand. What do people say? What are people saying? Build trust. People build trust in you, then they build trust in your product.
Investors.
We lost like the fact that there's certain things that happen in our business where we lost a big ass chunk of money, and a good portion of that money was refunds. I feel like giving no refunds. We hurting as it is. Why would I give refunds? Hey, shit happened. It was all bad. Sorry. Economy, tariffs. You understand? hey, no. We're a brand. We're a product.
And you want them to come back so you can recoup.
Man, we're a brand and product. At the end of the day, who do you want your name to be said a certain way? This is what they stood for. Even in fucked up times, that attributes to the product. And this goes with your employees. If you're a product and you uphold yourself as a product very well, but you hire motherfuckers that don't, it's still a reflection on you. So that's why you got to interview well. You got to make sure that you're instilling your values, your company values, into the people that work for you. Because especially your salespeople, if your salespeople are front facing to the customers and they have a fucked up experience, that affects you, the product. You hired them. You cool with them. You allow them to be in that building. So it must be you too. If the people who communicate to your customers are rude to them, they don't talk to them in a certain way, they don't know how to handle them customer service wise, that affects your brand. Mm-hmm. That's why you got to train them well. You got to make sure you instill the values that we all speak in the same language. So when I'm walking, like when I walk into a gym and they say, "Oh yeah, I talked to your guy Jeff. He's a really good dude. Like he really took care of me." Oh, cool. Or, "Man, I called Jeff 5 times and he didn't pick up. I've been blowing him up trying to give him some business." That's a reflection on the brand. So make sure who you hire matters, and how well they're trained, and the values that you instill in them. You're all speaking the same language, so that whether you're talking to me, you, her, him, it doesn't matter who the touch points are. You're getting the same experience. You're getting the same brand, and that takes work. But it starts with you. It starts with you, because they're going to feed off your energy.
Let me give you guys a hidden fact. If you run your own company, your employees copy you. They'll talk like you. They'll walk like you. They'll move like you. They'll act like you. I don't care how humble you are. So this is why you need a circle of people that can help you see yourself. You know that Johari window thing you talked about? Johari window is, there's a part of you see about yourself that other people see. There's a part of you see about yourself that others don't see. There's a part that others see about you that you don't see about yourself. And there's a part about you that you don't see about yourself and others don't see about yourself. Mm-hmm. That's four quadrants of being a person. The thing with employees is that they see a large portion of who you are that you don't see. So you have to constantly spend most of your time discovering yourself to create alignment. Because a lot of times what you say and how you move starts to separate, and that distortion creates a separation in their behavior. So you have to, it's like, you might taught a class, do you put the cart back? Right? You'll say, "Oh, I'm super disciplined," but you move with no structure, even though you say you full of structure. Then you go to your office, you wonder why your office has no structure? Because you don't move with no fucking structure. You don't put the cart back. Because you're like, "Oh, but I was tired that day." Doesn't matter what your fucking excuse was. Put the cart back. Do you stop at stop signs, or do you run them while you in a business meeting with one of your employees, and you just running stops, you just ruling through all the stop signs. Then you come back to the office and be like, "Yeah, we got to have a structure, we got to follow the rules." They're looking at you like, "No, do what you do. I see the rules, but if they don't really mean anything, I kind of run to the light." You see I'm going with this, like, you got to work on a point where you're consistent with what you say and what you do looks the same, because you're modeling for because when employees are looking at you, you're the supreme employee. So they realize, if I can be more like you, that's the best employee in the world. But if you're hella inconsistent, you're like, "Why are my employees so inconsistent?" Because you're inconsistent. Also, too, when you hire the public, you hire hella diversity. I'm talking about diverse ideas, beliefs, backgrounds. They need to come into this culture and be part of this culture. So one of the things I used to notice back in the days, this when the W Hotel first opened, I would watch hood dudes go to a cheap hotel and tear that motherfucker up. But go to the W Hotel and all of a sudden walk like they conservative. You're like, I know you, dude. You ain't shit. But you at the W Hotel speaking proper and shit, shaking hands. What's up, brother? How y'all doing, man? What's happening? Yeah, me and my girl gonna be up here, woo, 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 right? You're like, that ain't even you. Get back to the hood. You doing, I don't give a fuck. What happened was the W Hotel demanded that when you walk in my space, this is how you show up. You have to design your environment that says, when you here, I don't care how your life is out here, but when you here, this is how we move here. This is how we get down. The way I knew our product was working is when I would hear people say, hey man, first they would say, what's that 510 media thing you guys are doing? It's something, it's like, I want to learn that thing. What's happening with y'all, right? I said, well, where'd you hear from? Oh, I interacted with this employee and that employee, and it kind of showed up similar, right? That means that culture, now the culture is starting to grow its own tentacles and touch other people and impact. And so now, watch this, why this is important. Marketing is every touch point of your business. But if every touch point in your business is inconsistent, your marketing sucks. Fuck all the flyers, fuck all the billboards, fuck the commercials, fuck all the videos you've ever ran. If your touch points are inconsistent, you fucking suck. Marketing is every time that somebody touches anything that has to do with your company, they get a similar experience as if you were driving every experience within a company. So if your culture doesn't dominate and everybody is reflecting their own separate personalities, every time they touch somebody in your company, they're fucking up your marketing. Because in order for me to trust that, say that, so for example, if I say right now, let's go buy a camera. I got a partner who can send in shit from Japan. You got to send him some money and shit. I promise he's going to send it to you. Or we go down to Apple, the same price. Who you going to go to? You're going to Apple. Why? Because you know if something goes wrong with that device, Apple is going to honor that situation. So why do you know that? Because every time you interact or so anybody else interact with them when they go into the store, Apple moved in a way that says, hey, we're trying to protect our customer relationship. But what if every time you went to the store, the shit just changed? Sometimes they tell you, well, you know, I got you. Some days they be like, yo, man, well, I didn't sell the shit to you, so why the fuck you fucking with me? Right? Or where'd you get it from? Who sold it to you? What was his name? Oh, well, then they ain't got to do with me now, because, you know, that ain't what we do over here. Right? But if everybody has the same type of way of showing up, you set expectations and you grow trust. So that means the culture must dominate to have a consistent touch point throughout the company, not just a hero moment here and there, or when you show up. Like, even when I walked in the office the other day, and Tennille, who has project management, was fussing about customer experiences. And now, mind you, it wasn't perfect, but I loved every bit of it because it showed her love and care about, no, this has to be a certain kind of way. It wasn't because I walked in, I was like, yo, it has to be a certain way. I walked in, they was winding the conversation down. But she had already started like, no, I need to make sure this experience is like this. And I'm getting a sense it could be like that. And what it was that she just missed some things that the team did that made it like this. But because she didn't see it, her alarm went off. I need everybody on my team alarms to go off when they sense something's off. As opposed to like, well, I didn't do it. So it's a cultural thing. And so you being a product, it's the birth of that consistent marketing expression.
Hey, I'm gonna admit some shit. I hate putting my weights back in the gym. Hate it. Because I work out to exhaustion. I work out till I can't lift the last one. So I'm whooped. Last thing I want to do is put the fucking weight back. I'm sorry. I just don't. But I know that if I don't do it, I'm going to be labeled a certain way. So I fucking put the weight back. I damn near throw it in the thing. The worst part of working out for me, putting the weight back. So one day, recently, I've been working out in Walnut Creek. So I'm working out in Walnut Creek. It's a whole different world in Walnut Creek. It's not only did everyone put the weights back, but they put the weights back in the correct size, the big, the middle, the small. It's pristine in there. Like, we put the weights back, but like in Walnut Creek, the right weights is on the right number. You know what I'm saying? Like the 50s are on the 50s, and everybody moves like that. It's not like one person. So I walk in, I'm working out, and I see somebody from San Leandro. And she was like, "Oh, hey, you Courtsmith, right?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "How?" Asked me about Courtsmith and all this stuff. So we talked for a minute, and I go work out. So I'm doing my workout. I'm to exhaustion. Oh, barely could do the last rep. I'm like body hurting, and I'm like, in my brain just skipped for a second. I grabbed my stuff and I walked to the next because I was just mad, and I was mad at the weight and tired. And so I hear her, "Put your weight back." It was her.
Amen.
I was like, I just saw the empty thing. I'm just putting my clothes over there for now. Because you also don't realize when you're in business, a lot of people watching you and not saying nothing.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
A lot of people got their eyes on you and ain't saying nothing, watching you. And you don't even realize it. You in your own little world doing your thing. You don't realize that people's eyes are on you.
Oh, no, I don't want to stop your point. You won't know you're missing something because just opportunities are not landing. When opportunities don't show up, you just think that's the way it is. But you don't realize you poison so much on your journey that your journey is way harder than my journey, because I've been planting seeds on my whole journey and it's fruitful. And it seems like I don't even advertise. It seems like I just clap my hand and money just shows up. But you don't realize that the way I move my product through the market, that I've created so many conversations that are having in boardrooms where they're like, "Yo, you should call 510 Media." But if I had moved differently, you won't even know you missed opportunities. You just get used to making less money.
Yeah. Have you ever been on a potential date with somebody? As you know, maybe you in a relationship, but you on a date. You watching, right? You watching everything, all the little details. And they did something that you was like, I can't fuck with that, because that's a reflection of either integrity, honesty, something that is deeper, and everything else went well, but they said something or they did something that you're like, yeah, nah, I can't. And they don't, and you wouldn't tell them that was a specific reason why you didn't date them. You didn't break that down to them. You just stopped calling them. So they'll never know that condescending way that they talk to the waiter, or they talk down to the waiter, or you saw them leave a tip and it was like 50 cents. Just shit like that you like, that's how you get down? You will never say it and they will never know.
That's what I said.
You see what I'm saying? So just if you do that, they'll never have an opportunity to fuck with you again, and they won't even know why. So so there's opportunities that we don't get, that we don't understand. Is because of the product that we are, not because of our physical product. It's because of us as the product. Like, I'm working in a new region, building out a new region. Their whole culture is different. And they're so picky about their culture. One thing off, they ain't fucking with you. I'm not fucking with you. So you have to understand, you are a product to a particular demographic, to a particular group of people, to the people that you want to do business with, that you want to engage with. That's a beautiful slide.
And my closing point, because I really want to get the next slide, it's going to be we're going to get a little more technical. We're in the social media age. Everybody's do you, be who you want to be. No one can tell you what to do. Express yourself. Be an artist. Be young. That's some broke ass advice. Mm-hmm. That's the most brokest motherfucking advice I've ever heard in my life. Because that idea is do you and fuck the herd. But then when it's time to eat, guess who feeds you? The herd. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a successful business person, guess who has to love you? The herd. Yeah. Yet you over here rebelling against the herd, but then need the herd to show up for you. If you don't wake up out of this goddamn immaturity, like even like you know, like you go into some of these restaurants, and I remember this one restaurant I go into, I can't go into it no more. because everybody's projecting their political positions. I'm like, I'm not doing this shit with you. I don't need to be here. I want to go here and get some good food. I don't need to like you. I don't need to spend time with you. I need to feel good when I come in here. It's your job to make every human being that comes in here, no matter what their background is, feel amazing. Not feel like if you don't align with me, I might not fuck with you today. Right? Like, you got all these horrible products in your business. I told an example of that. I went to a restaurant. I was in San Diego. I'm gonna make some people uncomfortable, but I'm not here to rub your back. So I was in San Diego, and I went to La Jolla, I think it is, right? La Jolla? There's La Jolla. Yeah. So went to a restaurant out there, and this restaurant was ran by women, and had people in the gay community, straight community, but that restaurant was ran like a restaurant. And you felt nobody, like the waiter and waitresses, no matter what their background was, the service was freaking amazing. Seattle used to be like this, right? Freaking amazing. Like, everybody was like, hey, you know, they saw, I had my daughter with me. They went and got her a cookie for free, a really fancy cookie. No, they took her over there and said, what do you want? And gave her an item. I was like, what the hell, y'all? I'm gonna get this tip. So then I went into a restaurant the next day for breakfast that was in a gay community, where they were kind of political. I walked through, he had a dude at the door. His hair looked like his brother. His hair looked like goddamn. And he was kind of an introvert gay dude. And he was overweight. And he didn't want to look at me in my eyes. And he's welcomed me into the restaurant. I get inside. They had the flamboyant male who was performing for me and didn't take my fucking order yet. Too much. Then they had the super woman feminist who came over, who looked like she just got through fighting in the back, and like, you know, those kind of street fights, and came in at a restaurant. The food was meh, the service was horrible, and everybody looked like they were a victim. Now, these are two places that hold similar people, but one culture said, this is how the fuck we move. This one was echoing individual brands. I'm not having that shit. And here's the thing, I'm telling you as owners, when you're an owner of business, you'll see when they try to come to your business. Where somebody be like, you know what, this new movement happening, we want to do this in the business. If it ain't in line with where we're going, that's not what we're doing. Now, when you get off, hey, listen here, I might even send you a donation, go do that shit. But here, when a person walks to my door, I need them to have a certain experience time and time again, because this guy across the street will take them if I don't. And if I don't pay this bill and if I don't make this money, you don't get your paycheck. So at the end of the day, we got to keep this shit grounded. Like, I'm not against any political, cultural value movement. That's not how I move. And I think all movements have something there that needs to be worked on, right? But we got to know how to create a business that's there to compete, not there to fan all of our differences, which then even our board meetings become like a nightmare. But what about, okay, we just sell apples, dog. I don't want to do all these whatabouts. It's ridiculous.
Hey, real quick. I remember maybe 15 years ago, I went on a date with a girl, pulled up, opened my side of the door. She gets in, and there was like a couple bottled water bottles and like trash on her seat. So I said, oh, my bad, there's some stuff on the seat. So I picked it up. I got in my side. And she got in the passenger, closed the door, and she's like, give it to me. I got it. I gave it to her, and she threw it out the window. Now, she was bad. She had a banging body. She was all kind of the things, could dress, this, that, the other. I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Because there's something psychologically wrong with you that you would do some shit like that.
You know what's so funny? It's like, I'm just like, what? And I'm thinking about the person that's like, and like just the parallels.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you never know what people are. This is a dope ass slide. You never know. Now, there's a flip side to this too. There's some parts of you as a product that you want to be unapologetic about. There's some people who don't want you to behave in certain ways, and you know that, and you like, fuck you. You not my target market. I'm not doing that. Can you guys wear suits when you up here so you look more professional? Fuck you. No.
Guys don't do what we do.
That's not the product that I want to build. You know, there's certain things about the brand you are or the product that you are that you can hold to, but it still has to make sure it works.
It's market aligned.
Yeah.
All right, this next slide. Go to the next slide. All right. Shakira, I'm gonna need you. This one, I need you guys to put your thinking caps on. I'm going to introduce something to you that most human beings struggle with. And this is the beginning of me laying the foundation of introducing to you guys game theory. I'm going to spend the next 3 or 4 classes in my session teaching game theory. Game theory, once you learn game theory, it's going to change every fucking thing. Everything. I've never been in my community and heard people teach this principle, even though I've seen it rich in my community. Be very clear. But I've seen it deteriorate because there's no ownership of why this is so important. So what I'm about to teach in this session here, I need you to get you a Coca-Cola, coffee, stretch, go run, take your laptop outside and go stand in the wind and the air. But I need your brains on point because I've heard people say, Nana, can you teach me strategy? And I've been introducing strategy, but this here is at the core. If you don't get this, you'll never understand strategy. Just hey man, master mopping floors, because this is about the end of the conversation. Or just get trained at your job and ask them to keep training you and ask them to promote you and tell them to pick you. And maybe they'll pick you one day and you'll get what you want. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, this is a basic that I'm kind of tired of talking around it. So I decided, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and start laying the foundation. So I'm going to lay the foundation. This is just an introduction to game theory. But this won't be game theory tonight, but I have to lay this foundation. So if you don't get this foundation, you will not understand game theory. Game theory is going to sound like I'm talking about, it's going to sound like I'm preaching about spirits and gods and people in afterlives and shit like that. So Shakina, you ready?
Let's roll.
All right, let's do it.
Abstract thinking. Abstract thinking is the ability to move beyond the immediate, concrete details of a situation to recognize patterns, relationships, and hidden structures that aren't directly visible.
So let me say this real quick. Abstract. First of all, human beings are the worst at making abstract decisions. But it's important that abstract decisions are things that exist beyond the concrete details. It's the things that are recognizing patterns, relationships, hidden structures. The key word is hidden structures that aren't directly visible. Abstract. I don't think you guys understand how important this shit is. Now, first of all, before I go any further, anybody have an idea what abstract, from just reading that definition alone, can anybody just think of a quick example of what that is? It's okay if you can, but if you just struggle with it, because I'm here with you.
I think parenting is abstract.
Nah, you're missing. That's too. Nope. Give me something more abstract.
Something that's outside of the appearance.
Yeah, but like what? Give me something. It's all around you all the time.
What comes up for me are the hidden incentives that people have in their minds that we don't even, like, what are they getting out of it that is not direct? It's almost like a secret sauce that is beyond our even first thought comprehension. It's the impacts of the impacts, the what can come as a result of. That's what I think when this.
Right, but like, give me
initial
something
thing.
that like you see, a sample of something you see that would be considered abstract, or you don't see, but it exists.
The reason why people come to Black Vines.
Which is?
There's reasons that I have absolutely no idea.
But that's important. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's abstract. That is abstract.
So that's like, so I'm thinking, I may think they want to try different wines. They're coming for community and love and to feel seen.
That's absolutely abstract.
And have status.
Yes. That results in what? Money. Right?
Yeah.
Like abstract exists between the transaction, or exists in exists between the family. It exists between life and death. There's these abstract elements that we're not managing, or we identifying, or labeling to get them to maximize the outcome, or even understand when we're fucking them over, or we're communicating them incorrectly, right? So keep reading. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get deeper into it. Keep going.
It's thinking in terms of ideas, principles, and possibilities rather than only facts and events. And it's
So real quick, most social media doesn't embrace abstract. It embraces, people say, well, you ever seen people argue, especially tit for tat arguing? And when they start to argue, they move from abstract to, well, what happened? Give the facts. Drop it down to what, and the abstract sometimes is most times more important than actual facts that happen, because it shapes the context of the facts that happen. Stay with me. Now keep going.
At its core, abstract thinking means seeing the invisible forces.
That's important. So you got to be able to see the invisible forces. So when you're thinking about something, when you're dealing with in business, why is this family rich? Why is this family poor? Can you see the invisible forces? And don't use racism, because that's a go-to cliche easy one. But if you don't see the abstracts, you're not going to see why one family is rich and why family is poor. What are the different patterns? So, for example, has anybody ever went to a super rich family that's way richer than you? Okay, did you notice their patterns and behavior and everything was different than your patterns and behavior? Right? But you wouldn't know if that's important or not if you don't understand abstract thinking. You just think they're different. You just think people are just different, not understanding the difference have meaning. You can't code differences. You can't code human behavior. You can't code power dynamics. You can't even code what you're reading. Because you don't know if it, like, why are you saying this? Does it really apply to me? Even though you just take, that sounds so smart. Shit, he has a PhD. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but if you understand the abstract, that meant nothing to you. You guys get where I'm going with this so far? Just stay with me for a second, because I'm gonna hold your hand through the process. Keep going.
Values, incentives, power, culture, and trust.
So values. If you come around me and I'm like, this is a value, can't break it. You may be like, why? It's stupid. But what about? Because you're looking at it you're not seeing the abstract. You're seeing the concrete. You're not seeing the invisible. You're not seeing the long-term outcome. So even when it's time for you to build policies and run your company, if you don't see abstract, I want to see how the fuck you run your policies. Because most policies are abstract. It may be no results that are happening, but okay, for example, people start saying, why are these vaccinations? Because these diseases don't exist. No, that's the product of a vaccination. That's why the diseases don't exist, right? And so if you don't understand, like, you know how people argue, we're here longer because of organic food? No, we're here longer because of science and the vaccinations. We had organic food and we were only living to 30. Half of human beings couldn't get past 35. And then when vaccinations landed and science landed, we have pushed it all the way up to 70s and 80s and 90s and 100s, right? But if you don't understand abstract thinking, you're looking at it like, I know a person who did this and they did that. Anecdotal stories have more power than actual reality, right? So abstract thinking is seeing the powers and the forces in between certain things that make things work, as opposed to just looking at the evidence that's in front of you. Stay with me, because this going to impact from dating to parenting to family to business to personal choices to education to economics to job choices. This hits every fucking category. Keep going.
Connecting the dots across seemingly unrelated situations.
So in abstract thinking, you start to see how this over here helps you understand this over there, right? I'll get into that in a minute. Keep going.
Operating at multiple levels. The specific and general, the short game and the long game, the seen and the unseen.
So if you're going to play short game and long game, it's all abstract. If a coach draws up plays, are they drawing up actual plays or are they drawing up possibilities? So if you don't understand the value of those possibilities and know how to commit your mind to the possibilities, then you can't actually value the value of the plays they're drawing up. Either person drawing the play can't draw plays, they can't see the abstract manifests itself into reality, and what's causing that manifestation. So you can have a coach draw beautiful plays, and they never win a game because something's happened between the play design and the actual implementation of the play. Something in between. There's some abstract decisions you're missing because you're too concrete in your thinking. A lot of people who argue, like most people who are right versus wrong, they can't see abstract. You're too fucking rigid in these simple. A lot of arguments take you away from abstract thinking. Abstract thinking is being able to see the value of how the action of today or the thought of today or the system of today, how it impacts long-term impact, even though tomorrow there'll be no results. No results. You'll follow this rule, no results. You follow the rule again, no results. I can show you so many examples in history where human beings made a certain move over here that was totally abstract, and then something happened, and it gave them an advantage that allowed them to win the war or survive as a race. Abstract. Same thing happens in business. Let's just keep going.
That was the end of that slide. Next slide.
Next slide.
And Scott had a question or comment.
Okay. So, go ahead, Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
I think two perfect arenas for this: investing and macroeconomics.
Huge abstracts. Huge abstracts. So he said investing and macroeconomics. Macroeconomics. Pure abstract. Pure abstract thinking. Okay, so let's get into
Features.
so pattern recognition is one of the first ones, but I put up some examples from pattern recognition. Let's go into pattern recognition so you can start to see how this manifests. So go ahead, pattern recognition. Go ahead, read it.
Spotting recurring dynamics. Example, this is just about late payments. It's a trust problem.
So if somebody's late on their payment, you can just be like, these motherfuckers not paying their bills, and you get mad. And say me and get mad. Let's say we work together, right? I'm like, man, Fern ain't paying her fucking bills, man. She's disrespecting us. I just walked away from abstract thinking. It could be there's a trust problem here, and I can get her to change her situation, but I can't get her to change the situation because it's something I'm projecting to her that's creating her to have broken habits, right? So radical responsibility will allow me to find that if I really embrace radical responsibility, because radical responsibility allows you to find abstract. But when you're a victim, you can never see abstract. You just see Fern's not paying her bills, and I realize if I just change my communication in the system, Fern will pay more consistently. I have power over her paying the bills. It's not just she's distracted and she's irresponsible. I control the outcome. But I don't know I control the outcome because I can't see abstract patterns. So let's get into some pattern recognition examples. So child grades. Let's go with that one.
Child's grades drop. Not just bad at math, but maybe a motivation or a sleep problem.
So the child says, man, my child's bad at math. He's just not good at math. No, you didn't put him in bed on time every night. If you just put them in bed on time, let them sleep 10 hours a night, they may change. Maybe the school you put them in is not really a school where they're motivated for math. Maybe the peers around there treat math just through a common conversation as is too hard, degrading, and not valuable. So if you can't see those variables and you just put pressure on the kid, you may break the kid not seeing that just put the kid on bed on time. Right? Or keep going, next one.
Business slows down. Not just customers disappeared, but maybe a seasonal demand cycle.
So you over here going, damn, my business slowed down. What the fuck's going on? Maybe customers ain't fucking with us no more. No, the season just changed, dog. That's it. But if you can't see the abstract, you'll focus on, ain't nobody showed up today. Maybe we ain't. So now you're pouring all this money into this shit to only find out, and you don't start firing people. You don't make all these moves, and then when the season's up, you don't start to see the patterns of seasons ups and seasons down. So you don't know how to spend your money for the up and down seasons. So when the season's up, you overspend. And then when the season's down, you're over panicking. And you don't realize now you're going to crash your business because you're not leading your business because you can't see the abstract patterns. Go ahead. Next one.
Employee is always late, not just bad with time, but maybe a transportation barrier or disengagement.
So your employees might not be late just because, he's just bad with time. Because we rush to these easy anecdotal solutions, right? Not realizing, where we built our office may be poor location because we built our office going into traffic. So we're going to have to change something to deal with that. Or maybe this meeting that we're having has such a low return, they're just not engaged, bro. But if you're defensive, imagine somebody being defensive and the person's late. They disrespected my business, man. I'm going to fire them before you late again because I run a tight business. You see how you're not abstract? Abstract says, why are they late? Let's own this. That's why it's late. Where do I have control over them being late? Now, there's a certain point where it's like, okay, it's not going anywhere. But and there's a certain point where the cost, I don't have time to figure this out because of cost. That can happen to you. But a lot of times, if you don't fix that system, you'll continue to have the same breakdown with no matter who keeps showing up in that role. Right? Next one.
Family arguments about money. Not just bills are high, but maybe a communication or trust problem about priorities.
So I'm not really mad about the bills being higher. Are we messing with payment? I don't really trust you with the money. I watch how you move and how you spend money, and because you're the person in charge of paying bills, I'm really frustrated with you and always fussing at you because I see other things. I just can't really talk to you about your money. Abstract. There's nothing seen here, right? There's nothing physically being done, but maybe one day when you went to the restaurant and you over-order, you keep ordering fancy wines, and I'm thinking, we ain't got that kind of money. But you don't move like that, right? Now, mind you may have a different reason, but because we don't talk, I'm losing trust in your spending habits. So now when bills come in and first time you're late, I'm arguing that. I'm coming at you strong because my disconnect over here. And you don't realize, because you're like, well, I don't know why you tripping, but you don't realize, well, if I want this person to stop tripping, I need to move in a fiscal responsible way. But I can't move fiscal irresponsible and then one day go, why don't you trust me? Because everything you do is not trustworthy when it comes to fiscal responsibility. So, and then, or when you do stuff that's untrustworthy, we just never talk about it. So I'm just building up all this residue. And so one day you just tip somebody $2 extra and I'm coming at you really strong, but it ain't really about that moment. Okay, you can do this if you want to, boy. Okay, next one.
Customer keeps asking for discounts. Not just they're cheap, but maybe a sign you haven't positioned your value clearly.
So, these people, the customers come. You ever see some business owners complain about the customers? Abstract is what is it you can't see that you're communicating that creates that kind of customer. That's abstract. So this is what happens when you're a victim. You miss all these. This shit don't make sense to you at all. You got these quick go to, and you're missing opportunities to strategically adjust, tweak, and create advantages. You can't even see innovation. Go ahead.
Hey, disrespect is like the go-to.
Oh my God.
That's the big. That's,
Oh my
that's the
God.
big
I
one.
hate that one.
Yeah.
Disrespect is such a low level
Yeah.
response to shit. When really, what have I done to produce this level of disrespect? What is it I'm communicate to stop this? Or what did I redesign? What did I have to reposition in my office? What strategical moves I need to do with my business to create the outcome I want to have? In your personal life, in your business, in your family, in everything, you control that outcome. See, we say radical responsibility, but we land on this moral high, not realizing, no, radical responsibility is when something happens to you, you don't say, these customers hella cheap. That's not radical responsibility. You go, how are we positioning our products? Why keep everybody asking for a discount? Are we even using the wrong pipelines to communicate to our customers? And these pipelines are occupied by people who are usually signaling cheap. Like, what are we doing? But when you start saying, I can't believe they responded to me like this. Let's say people come into your business and disrespect it. What was the entryway experience like? What did you communicate when I walked through that door? What did that door say? When you walked through this door, this is what's going down. Or did you say to them, now, if I'm negotiating with you too hard on price, did you say when I walked to your office, you ain't got that kind of money? Or did you say, yeah, this is gonna cost you, dog. It's gonna cost you something. Next one.
Team resistance, a new idea, not just they hate change, but maybe a fear of losing status, comfort, or control.
So this is one of those things where abstract thinking is. So I'll give you another example. So let's think about this. Let's talk about family. So let's think about a family. Like you raising your family right now. What are some abstract decisions you could make in your family? It's just off the top of your dome where you think it could be some abstract decisions you can make with your family.
Schools, extracurriculars,
Go further back. More in depth than that.
bedtimes.
Huh? Yeah, but just family. You want to have a strong family, right? You want to have a strong family. What are some abstract things that should be instituted to make sure your family's strong?
Like family time routines. Like, what do you do together?
So eating dinner together is a family abstract behavior because what is the outcome of eating dinner together, right?
Cleaning together,
cleaning together,
like household
Yes.
responsibilities.
Household responsibilities is an abstract behavior, right? What is the household philosophy? We as black people, we believe in this. When we see racism, this is how we show up to it. This is how we believe in education. So we prioritize education over everything based upon the way we show up. So when your child's having a performance, do you go or do you say, I got other shit more important and signal to the person that education is not that important? See what I'm going, like all these, like, how are you signaling to the world, to your family, to the communication? This is how we move. And you want them to move in this abstract space, but you don't recognize the patterns that are necessary for these things to unfold. What is the difference between when you go to a poor family and a rich family? What are some of the abstract differences? Think about it. Just think, what are some of the abstract, like you've been to a poor household, and some of y'all are living in upper middle class household. What are some of the differences? This ain't about attacking them, but it's showing you like why these things are important to them and why it's not important to them. Go ahead.
I would say like lack of standards.
Lack of standards.
Yeah, like certain. Like you said.
Can I get past the microphone?
Thank you. Yeah, so like families showing up a certain way, certain rules, certain etiquettes they have versus like no rules, kind of free for all, do what you want, you're on your own, do what I say because I said so kind of thing with no real explanation or nothing really governing the household.
100%. Go ahead, Gabby. Oh, that's my other daughter there.
Speaking from experience, like because like especially with the do it I said because I said so, just like the different like views, like having like nice stuff, but then living in a poor like neighborhood and not really caring about like etiquette or how like how people show up, and then like go outside and like get like super upset because somebody stepped on your J's, but you're living in like the hood where there's like people dying everywhere, versus like actually caring about schoolwork, helping out around the house, communicating, and like being involved in family. Like those are like some of the differences that like I've seen.
Yes, 100% correct. The other day I came home and there was they were unpacking because my daughter had a big birthday party. So they were unpacking the stuff, and they put it in the driveway and it sat there for like 3 or 4 hours. I came outside and said, hey, that's not what neighbors do. Let's get that out the driveway. Right? That may seem small. In one neighbor, they'd be like, well, we're going to move it sooner or later. Right? My neighbor across the street, at one point, he buys a lot of old school cars. And I had to pull him aside and say, yo, my man, you got too many cars on the block. You got to think about this differently. Right? I was trying to reinforce principles. Like if you go to, so my boy lives in Walnut Creek. When you go to his house, you gotta get permission to park on the streets. Otherwise, you gotta pull into the driveway or park way away from his house, because you're not allowed just to park on the street at all. You walk down the street, you're like, this street is so damn clean. The ground's clean, the trees, everything is super duper 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 clean, right? That cleanliness is a reflection of a group of abstract rules that says, in order for you to have a certain experience, like you go to Walnut Creek right now and just go through those neighborhoods and just hang out, you'll feel those abstract rules that if you go back to the hood, they don't exist. Now, mind you, you might say, oh, that's because it's poor. I'm here to tell you, I was born before crack era. We had those kind of communities as well. Mm-hmm. Like, you might know Old Havens Court. I mean, if you're from Oakland, Old Havens Court was the pride of East Oakland. It was so polished. You would drive, and there's a certain area, Picardy area, so polished. It was all black owned, right?
Christmas,
man, come on, it was a place you just go. People would drive from all around just to drive through these neighborhoods where people moved a certain kind of way, right? What you'll find is that there is a group of abstract beliefs and standards. We've gotten to the point where we're breaking, part of a man respecting a woman is chivalry. It teaches men respect. It's abstract. Yeah, you might say, I can open my own door. Yeah, you can. That's too concrete. What does it tell a man every time you get close to the door, he better open that door? What does it suggest to a man? That makes that same man watch a woman get hit and feel something inside his heart go, why did somebody hit that woman? I might need to go over there and help her. Literally, that same thing is being trained over here through this abstract practice. Practice. You wonder why your kids become teenagers and won't speak to you. When's the last time you had dinner with them? You've been teaching them this whole time. Talk to yourself. You by yourself. It's like these rituals we have all the time that are abstract, right? And it's so important to see these abstracts because you don't see these patterns, these abstracts. You won't know how to design your systems to get the outcome you wish to have. So in the end, you're designing the wrong system and having an opposite outcome. And now you're frustrated with life because you don't recognize abstract patterns. Next slide.
Conceptual framing. Using metaphors, models, or games to explain messy realities.
That's a form of abstract. So conceptual framing, meaning that when we talk about sports, basketball, baseball, football, different games, life is full, which I'm gonna get, this is the foundation of game theory. Life is very messy. It's not simple. That's why I see people talk very, very simple. Like the young man who just got assassinated recently, I watched people on both sides have conversations about it. And it's irritating to pay attention to because they're trying to simplify something that's very complex, that has multiple messy complexities. But they try, when you see two people, when you see entertainers who are usually looking for hits or attention, they usually use these simple explanations. Well, some of us are walking around having simple discussions about messy, complex reality. So one of the ways you know that, so in this class, we've had to teach very complex ideas and principles. This is why we use things like sports all the time. It helps us explain these complexities where it just doesn't fit nice in these clean boxes, right? So part of abstract thinking is knowing how to create conceptual framing of complex ideas. Ideas are not going to be simple. Some things are just fucking complex, and you need simple stories to translate those complexities. When he talks about sports, he's telling you something very, very complex, but he's using something that is easily recognizable that we got used to the complexity of when we watch sports. Next slide.
Generalization. Moving from a specific case, my uncle works 2 jobs, to a broader principle. Families often trade time for stability.
So abstract thinking is that you got to learn how to move away from small, simple cases. Well, I know a person, and he worked, and so if this worked for him, this is what it is. No, that's not how you think. Abstract is learning how to see the patterns of what's happening from that person working 2 jobs and see if you can see that as a common pattern in other places. So now you start to be able to say, okay, so if I want to design a healthy family, it's probably not a good idea I work 2 jobs, because I'm looking at the outcome of that, no matter what the person is, no matter what the background is, whether it's your uncle, and even though your uncle was successful working 2 jobs and still being a good father, that anomaly, it has nothing to do with what is the consistency or what happens there. So a lot of you guys are trapped in simple ass stories because you don't know how to move towards generalization. Y'all good with this? Like it's so. Oh, you don't know my story. You don't know my story. I don't fucking care about your story. Your story is not what's driving the decision making. It's me using generalization to make the best possible decision for my company, for me, for my family, so on, so on, so on, and so on. Next one.
Future orientation.
Ooh, I love this one the most.
Asking, what could this mean later? Instead of just what is happening now.
So a lot of times when you're looking at something right now and something happens in front of you, I don't care. Like, for example, when Charlie Kirk or Charles Kirk got shot, or was his name Charles Kirk, right? When he got a shot, the first reason that me and Court said we don't agree with this because of the long-term impact of that. I never heard that man speak. I don't really care what a single man says. I don't give a shit if he has a following. The world's so damn huge, his following is irrelevant to me and what that means. But I don't believe in the idea of assassinating, murdering somebody, executing somebody. It's different if you got into a fight with somebody and they fought it and then his head hit on the ground. You'd be like, oh, it's a little bit easier to stomach. To assassinate somebody because you disagree with somebody, we're thinking about what's the long-term effect of that. Now, you understand, anytime you go talk to the public, you're not going to be, everybody's not going to agree with you. There's no such thing as, if you're driving a core issue, that means that somebody's going to like what you're saying and somebody's going to disagree with what you're saying. Does the person who disagrees with you, what you're saying, have the right to kill you? Mm-hmm. That's why the long-term play on his assassination was, I'm not with that shit. It wasn't, oh, so you're lying with this idea, that idea, this, that you, I ain't going that far, bro. I'm saying the act of assassinating the man with a rifle while he's speaking, whether you agree or disagree, I don't want a world where that's a thing. Because if that grows, oh, it won't just be him dying. It's gonna be a lot more people dying. So the long term play was, I don't care how you felt about him in that moment. Long term says, I might have been mad at him, but long term, do I agree with that? No. Then that's where my brain sits. Now, it doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there and argue with you and debate with you, because arguing long term versus short term with somebody is the hardest fucking argument you will ever experience in your life. But when you're making decisions for yourself as a leader, as a business, as a company, you got to be able to move beyond the emotional moment of whatever's happening in front of you and think about what's the long-term impact of the decision I'm going to make. What is the trade-off? For every decision you make, which I'm going to get deep into trade-off in game theory, but what is the trade-off of this decision I'm going to make? Is it, I solved the problem, but I really don't want to pay the future cost of this? Like, do you own that? Or are you just satisfied by the moment because you squashed the moment, you went home, you went to sleep? So, for example, let's say I'm somewhere. I can fight really well. So say I'm out somewhere, and somebody says something to me and I knock them the fuck out. I ain't even worried about jail. You also have to worry about what day I'm just hanging out with my daughter and somebody just running behind me and shoot me. Do I want that cost? Is it best for me to say, if this person doesn't threaten my daughter, let it go. Let it go. I mean, literally, let it go, because long term, this doesn't make sense to me. Even though my emotions are trapped in short term at the moment. I didn't need to knock this mother. You say one more motherfucking word, and my teeth start doing the East Oakland thing where I'm talking to my teeth. But I need to know, no, you got a lot to lose here, bro. Is this really, like, you win the moment and you win the battle and lose the war? Next slide. I'm going through this pretty fast because I'm gonna go further in some of this stuff, and I'm gonna expand it in ways y'all can't even see I'm going. Okay, go ahead.
Multiple perspectives. Holding conflicting truths at once. Example, survival versus thriving. Assimilation versus cultural pride.
So here's what we can relate to as black people. Do we assimilate or do we resist? Or do we do both? You do both. You actually do both. You don't realize you're doing both at all times. What language you speak? You speak in Ga, Igbo, Yoruba, or are you speaking English? So there's a degree of assimilation. But cultural pride might be, I draw that line here, right? There's this balance. If you got a business built for the culture, for the public, and the public happens to be all white people who love your product more than your community, do you say, fuck these dudes, I don't need these millions. I need Sister Soldier to come through this door, otherwise I ain't fuck with nobody. We're always married in the two, right? So can you hold two opposite ideas in your brain and be comfortable where it applies here but doesn't apply here, and applies here but doesn't apply here? I can hold both of these to be true. I can hold both of these to be false, even though they're in opposites. Go ahead.
What is the difference between these abstract thoughts and thinking mechanisms and mental models that we've studied over time?
All mental models are abstract.
That's what.
All mental models are abstract, but what I'm trying to do is give you more ownership and more, like, tighten the lens on what abstract is and give you a broader, because mental models are big, sweeping principles in philosophy, but mental models don't tell you how to sit down with your family. Parenting, a lot of parenting, the things that happen within parenting, there's acts that you engage in parenting that is all abstract, right? It's like, I remember my great grandmother used to say stuff like, you play with a dog, they play with a kid, they play with a dog, they lick you in the face, play with a kid, they slap you in the face. Or she'll say something like, the rabbit would have caught, the dog would have caught the rabbit who would stop to take a shit. Right? And that concept was, she was teaching these mental models, or sticks and stones will break your bones, words will never hurt you. Those are abstract principles being pushed to teach me how to navigate and deal with different people and different backgrounds, right? Where now, the abstract ideas that we are pushing, we're not looking at the long-term outcome of those ideas. It's more like, you deserve to be respected. So when you go to school, you let that teacher know. But if you go to school and let that teacher know, aren't you also being disruptive? And is there a better way to approach if this teacher's underperforming? But to go there and just keep practicing disruption because you didn't like your grades, that doesn't tell me enough for me to permit that or support that. You're going to go with this. It's these things where abstract, all these decisions we're making, we don't own a lot of just everyday decisions we're making that we don't realize the cost of the decisions we're making because we think, at least I protected myself. I did what I want to do. I was being true to who I am, and then realized we were undermining everything we believed in.
Hey, this multiple perspective thing, if you really adapt this to your game, it can make you look way more powerful. Because most people are polarized in their thinking. It's left, right, black, white, right, left, true, false. There's the right and the left. It's conservative, Republican. It's this and that. And there's a big line and there's no crossing the line. There's Christians and Muslims and Buddhists, and there's no crossing the lines. Advanced thinking says, no, this can be true, and this can be true over here, and this can be true right here. Well, that's hella disrespectful for you to be over there and agreeing with them over there, but you over here. See what I'm saying? That's that's damn near a superpower.
But it's only with certain people. Like, it's a superpower in certain situations, but when you're in the space with the lower level thinking, often you're positioned as either you ain't got a point, or you are in the middle, or you always got to think hella outside the box, stay within the box. Like, it is almost like you're the villain when you look at things.
So we want to talk about the diet earlier. We want to talk about the diet. If you decide to eat healthy, you're going to lose. You'll get that same resistance part of the game. Once you decide to become a leader in your community or entrepreneur, you do understand you're not part of the popular circle anymore. That's over. You're not going to be popular circle. People will admire you from afar. They just can't fuck with you all day long. Because your patterns your abstract patterns that you design goes against the abstract patterns they design. So if my uncle and auntie eats really, really bad, they're not looking at the outcome of all that eating. I'm talking about there's a whole plethora of outcomes that are tied to their eating rhythms, right? And then when they go to the doctor and they find out, oh my God, you're diabetic, they're going to go work out. They'll only find out they worked out hella hard and then lose 1 pound, right? And they're going to even try to eat healthy. And they got a long journey because they're going to have so many things they're not trying to remove from their food because they think it's still, their definition of healthy is all distorted. And if you took them to an environment where people were eating healthy, it would shock their fucking system, shock their brain. They would almost be like, get me out of here. These people are weird. You're going to become weird.
Yeah, so what? Fuck them.
I have.
Fuck them.
I have become weird.
Fuck them.
But that's part of being an entrepreneur.
But the difference is, the point I was really trying to make is, there's levels of individuals that you engage where at different stages, things become way more appreciated than at other levels. So
but I will say this, those who are, so I'm able to move amongst a lot of different class levels. But because once you see abstract, you'll see their patterns too. Once you learn to see everybody's abstract patterns, you'll know what game you're walking into. So for example, if I walk around with arrogance of my game and I'm in the wrong game, that game should crush me. So like, for example, let's say, like, if I master swinging a bat in baseball, am I surprised that the basketball coach doesn't appreciate my skills? Right? So if you go to somebody's house who's dealing with scarcity at the moment, and I'm dealing with growth at the moment, I got to know how to walk in that house and show respect to scarcity. Right? So that's part of our responsibility. But if you're asking people to align with you, those days are over. But you should know how to sit. I can sit with a person and hear their comment. This is why you have to be curious, more curious than preachy. Because your curiosity, because you need to say, what game is this person playing in front of me? If you, let me tell you where I'm about to give you. Man, I'm setting you up to run your customers like a motherfucker. I go to the next level of like clients, vendors, customers. Like you could literally start playing with people like puppets. Once I take you to this lesson, if you really dig into this, I'm showing you how to control your environment. Like literally control the outcome. How to produce a house that has higher probability of successful people coming at your house. How to produce a house that has, how to create a business that has a higher probability of success. How to be in systems that have a higher chance of pouring into you to help you be successful or whatever you're trying to achieve. You can start to design everything around you where the world you want to have, you can create. Like it's not up to me to tell you my world's the best or your world's the best. There's so many variations of these worlds. But if I come to your world, the reason I will be slow and passive in movement and engaging because I'm trying to read the abstract patterns that which tell me which game you're playing, so I know how to move in that world and still achieve my success.
Yeah, and I would also add, this is invaluable in marketing. When you're building a business and you're looking for a niche demographic, this helps you find subgenres and niche demographics because most people, again, are polarized in their thinking. So they say, black people do this, Mexican people do this, white people do this. But this multiple perspectives says, well, can a black person do this and this? No, hell no. Yes, they can. Or let me check. And if they do, you just found a subgenre that everybody's just driving over and not paying attention to. You see what I'm saying? Like I was at the Canelo Crawford fight in Vegas. Man, you know how many black brothers I've seen with cowboy hats and cowboy boots? With fly ass outfits. You would think that's weird. You see what I'm saying? Like that's different. But that's becoming a subgenre. And the abstract thinking is everybody was polarized. Either this culture went for this fighter, this culture went for this fighter. Nah, it wasn't even like that in there. It was mixed. People were like different cultures were going for the opposite ends. And that perspective can say, can that be true? Yeah, that can be true.
Yeah, it's really learning to see between the lines, between the cracks, learning to see the systems that evolve. Matter of fact, one of the reasons I knew social justice was trash, not what people wanted, but the movement was trash, because I was watching the game it was playing, and the abstracts were so contradictory. They were literally digging holes. They were digging the holes they were trying to climb out of, but they were making the holes deeper. I'm like, okay, my God, this ain't gonna work, right? It wasn't. I'm not a fortune teller. I wasn't, I'm so wise. This is why you think people feel like they're fortune tellers or they can read the future, is because they learn, they master abstract thinking. And abstract thinking is seeing patterns that are invisible to most people that you say, yo, we got to go this way. And like, what? But everybody's going this way. No, but we got to go this way. And then when you go that way, you be like, how'd you know this was going to win? Because I looked at the patterns and I realized what was their motivators and what game they were playing. They were playing a game that would give them this reward, and they got that reward already. But what we were trying to achieve is this reward, and the actual term for that reward is this way. So you'll know when to go left when everybody goes right, because you understand the games and the abstract thinking and the abstract patterns and the abstract movement of things that's happening. What is the motivation behind what everybody's saying? So, for example, even remember I taught a class a long time ago about the dark side, embracing your dark side. Like if you can't be who you want to be unless you are cool with your dark side. You can go in business right now and be like, I don't understand why this happened and this happened, because those two people are fucking and you can't see it. It's that simple. Because their motivation is totally different. Even though we're all professing this over here, they have a different motivation over here, and they try to navigate that behind the scenes, which is causing this weird outcome and decision making over here. And you're like, that doesn't make sense to me. So then when you see this behavior over here, you go, oh, okay, now I see what's going on. So then you know, okay, so if I really want to move this situation, let me go praise her right in front of him and watch all this shit change. And an impossible deal happen. He's like, because why? The way you love on somebody is love on those who they love. This is game. I'm gonna give you the deepest game of game theory of like, yo, once you see game theory, you'll sit in this space and be like, oh, you're not being outmaneuvered because white people's skin makes them better than you. It's because you moving through the concrete. You got a generational concrete thinking. You never learned the science of abstract thinking. The science of abstract thinking shows you how to make certain pivot moves, prime, even framing and priming and anchoring and all this stuff. Those are acts of abstract thinking. Mm-hmm. So abstract thinking is all these invisible variables that if I was to express them to you right now, you wouldn't see any concrete reason from where I'm coming from unless you're an abstract thinker. If I said to you, hey, Fern, you got to do this, 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 and you can't do this, and you got to get this, and you got to sacrifice that, you'd be like, no, I'm fucking tripping. And then one day you're like, no, how you keep winning like this? I see the abstract moves. You can't. You're so busy looking at the concrete, you're reading the wrong tea leaves. I'm reading the abstract tea leaves. You're reading the concrete tea leaves, and those tea leaves are always going to mislead you. Hip hop reads concrete tea leaves. Those who run hip hop read abstract tea leaves. I promise you there's a difference. I promise you a difference. It's a huge freaking, the person who runs the NBA and NFL, that is all abstract. Even the WNBA, those who run like the Valkyries, whoever run the Valkyries right now is abstract master, right? The players, too concrete. You like when the Gilbert's Arena show, the reason I hate it so much, they keep referencing concrete. You got to master the art of the abstract. Why is basketball even being played? What does that even mean to the universe? What is the incentives that's driving all the decision making? So when something looks unfair, it ain't about fairness. You didn't see the incentives. Once you see the incentives, you realize, okay, I see why they didn't do that. Even though, so if you heard a story like, oh, you know, Blockbuster and Kodak didn't make a smart move, and that's why they didn't own the camera industry, because Kodak created the first actual camera, but they didn't make the right move, so they fell behind. That's too concrete and too stupid. It's too cliche. Do you understand how much money they had in film licensing? Do you understand how big the first camera was that was not even consumer product? Do you understand the trends of where the business was moving, all the incentives, how the incentives was surrounding their business that was driving this way? So to see it in hindsight, so no matter you make the same decision, you gonna make the same decision Kodak made, because why? You can't see the invisible patterns that drove the decision. All you see is the concrete and go, yeah, because this, and Blockbuster was still renting when this other company was filling in the mail and they didn't get it. Once you study the abstract, you go, oh shit, that's cold. Then once you understand the abstract, you can see the same patterns when they start to unfold again. You go, okay. So when George Floyd happened and money started moving from nonprofit and government to the black community, you know when that happened before? It happened in the 70s. You remember if anybody grew up from the 70s, you saw them black businesses? They were government-funded black businesses. So when the money went away and then all of a sudden East Oakland died and all this stuff died, it was the same thing. So you're like, oh, we were thriving back then. Not really. No. But if you understand the abstract of how it got there and where the money came from, what was the incentive, what was the motivators, and then you saw the same thing unfolding over here, you're like, y'all know this is going to have long term, even though your business, even though they just gave you $200,000, even though you looking hella fly, your business looking really, really good, abstract, you're in danger. But if you don't see the abstract, you look at how nice the building is, you'll see your opening party, you look at your actual sales the first month and think, oh, I'm good. You're not. Me will come in, I come in and be like, yo, this is gonna crash. And you'll be like, that's why I don't listen to Nana. He's full of shit. That's why I don't fuck with him. I've been through this a lot of times. And then I'll watch you die. And you won't get it because you're still looking at all the concrete. We had this, we were doing this, everybody loved what I was doing, people showed up, I was selling this, we've been here before, I seen other people do what I done. You ain't said nothing abstract yet. All concrete, poor analysis. Matter of fact, you can say, it always worked this way. Abstract says it can work this way 20 times in a row, and the next 20 times, and the next time, like it's a coin flip fallacy. I flip a dime 5 times. Does it mean the 6th time gonna be a dime? I mean, we head. I flip a dime 6 times, get head. Does it mean the 6th time gonna be head or 7th time gonna be head? No. But it's easy for your brain to go, well, it's always happened before. These are abstract principles that says, no, that's not how it works. But if you don't know abstract thinking, you can get caught in the inertia, the excitement. The last time you flipped that coin, you had head. Everybody's celebrating. Man, she got the hot hand. Every time she flips, it's always winning. Right. And now you pour money into it. You throwing events. You invested in. You call all your friends, and that's how you flip it. It's tails. And you're like, oh, what happened, dog? Because you're too fucking concrete. You got addicted. You got attracted to the concrete. You thought the concrete matters. It doesn't. It's the abstract shit that matters. The abstract shit makes the concrete shit happen. And if you don't master, we mastering concrete. Even the books we read are too concrete. Are you learning the abstracts? Keep going. Next slide. Almost done with this.
Why it matters for entrepreneurs. Businesses are built on abstractions. Brand equals trust.
So when you build your brand, you're trying to build market trust. You're not building brand because it makes me look good. It's what I got to do to give that. Meaning that customers don't spend money if they don't trust you. So if you're not building a brand, how the fuck are customers supposed to trust you? A brand is a promise to your customer. If when you have experience with me, this is what you're going to experience. So if you're not designing that, now when you design a brand, there's so many abstract things you have to do for it to go from I designed this to people actually believe in it. Do you know what that is? Or are you just like, I got this dude to design this brand for me, and now I'm about to post it on the internet. I got a website now, and what do you think about my brand? I don't know what to tell you, dog. I just can I just go back to eating my food? I don't really want to talk about this right now. Where if you told me I'm building a brand and you start telling me what you're doing to shape the brand perception in your customers, now we'll engage you in a conversation. But if you show me what you think about my brand, Nana, what do you think? Look at watermelon. I mean, it ain't offensive to black people either. It's kind of cool. Yes, I put the word lime so black people get mad because it's watermelon water. You know, what do you think? What do you think? Dog, that's not branding. Key next one.
Money equals belief.
So that means that if people buy your products, they believe in you. Do your customers believe in you? Are you measuring their belief in you? Are you so entitled? I built the best product. They're gonna believe in me. No. Are you measuring that belief? Do you have your finger on the pulse of your customer belief system? Or are you just assuming they're gonna believe in you because you're doing a good job? Because you work hard? Because you spend all your money on it? Or you feel the pulse to be like, hey, if we do this, they're going to believe it more because they already say they believe in this more. They already say they're more prone to believe in this than they believe in that. So we're aligning with their beliefs to make sure that this, whatever this is, aligns with what they believe we should be for them in this space. Are you managing that? And do all your alarms go off when you sense there's a crack in the belief system? Or do you come blinded? You don't even hear the alarm because you're thinking, I worked so hard last night. I just know they believe in me. The fuck does that mean? Next one.
Strategy equals invisible rules of the game.
And that's what I'm going to teach you, the invisible rules of gaming. Keep going.
Without abstract thinking, entrepreneurs get trapped in the invisible game.
This is the trap. Oh my God, this is I can't tell you how much I hear this shit. It gets on my nerves so bad that I feel like I'm having a different conversation. And when I try to talk to people about this, they get mad at me because they come up with their meaning making machine, their stories, turn everything I said into like, you're attacking me, you're disrespecting me, you don't see me, you don't value me, you don't understand me as a black woman. I don't give a fuck about who you are. You ask me about a strategy problem, I'm gonna tell you a strategy solution. Now you want to inject your personal fucking story. I don't give a fuck. I didn't ask you. So where'd you come from before we started working on this? Who are you as a woman? Have you had kids yet? Okay, I just want to start before we get started. I don't give a fuck. Straight out. I'm working on a strategy, and this is not personal. I never worked on strategy. It's just like, who's this person in front of me? Now, don't get me wrong. I am analyzing who you are in front of me because I need to figure out how to talk to you and how to have the conversation. But sometimes the stories are unreachable because you have too much political baggage or emotional or traumatic baggage that says you're not strategy conversation worthy. Go ahead.
Hey, let me jump in. You know what's dope now? For you guys and for you guys out there, you got something called AI. And so AI ChatGPT knows how to get deep. You have to go there with it. So you can say, hey, give me a business idea or give me some strategy on how to enter the market. And it says, oh, sure. And it'll give you some very black and white surface level shit. And you say, hey, no, let's go deeper. Give me something more abstract. And here's an example. And typically it'd be like, oh, you want to do that.
Yeah, it does it. It's funny.
And then it goes there with you. So ChatGPT has the ability to parry back and forth with you abstract strategies with marketing, which is fucking amazing. It's like having a marketer, a master marketer there with you that understands these types of philosophies.
Now, I will say this. You can't use it. You can't maximize it without game theory. When we get into game theory, you'll see what the fuck I'm talking about. As we get further into game theory, you'll be like, oh. So, for example, the reason a database that's built based upon statistics can't maximize game theory because it can't see the depth of the specifics and it can't see it can only see the past, can't see the future. And game theory is you navigating the future, not over leveraging the past. So if you partner with game theory ownership with ChatGPT, it makes you dangerous because you can accelerate your process and move hella fast. Okay, keep going.
Products, prices, and
Is
transactions.
there something going on in the hallway? Is everything okay? Huh? Oh, okay. I think he thought you said
Was some black people really gonna go check though?
Huh?
I just said, was the room full of black people? Gonna check.
Oh, okay. So those of you at home, we heard some knocking, and then folks went to the door. So I was like, "Yo, is there something going on?" All right. Let's keep it because we got a few minutes. So I'm gonna finish this. We're almost done. Go ahead. So
And
without
Mr.
abstract thinking, start from the beginning. Without abstract thinking.
Without abstract thinking, entrepreneurs get trapped in the visible game. Products, prices, transactions.
So have you been to a business that feels transactional? Or somebody's talking about their product like, man, I designed this new shirt. It's hella clean. Oh, this shit's hella tight, right? Or they focus on sales and hustling. Hustling is not abstract. It's too grounded. It's hustling such a weakness. One of these days I should teach a class on all the weaknesses of hustling. A lot of times hustling is trapped in concrete. It can't think abstract. So it doesn't understand that when you sell this item, for example, if I give you an item to sell, from the time I show you the item and pass it to you, all that is managed. It's an abstract experience. How are you managing that? For example, Apple, the reason Apple's able to innovate in packaging so much, they realize even when you tear the ceiling tape, it needs to feel a certain way for an abstract suggestion to your brain. But if you don't know these abstract things, you just think, well, you know, what I did is I just sold the item and I gave it to them and the shit really works really well. It's the coolest shirt they've ever seen. How many times have you seen these new businesses, especially hipster businesses, they're the worst. And they produce a new product and they give you almost all the experience and then fall short somewhere. For example, it might be in the returns or the communications, like the Applaud device I had, right? I still have it. I still use it. But the reason I don't push it as much is because when our first Applaud device broke, the way they treated me on the repairs and the way they treated me in some of the spaces was inconsistent with the device experience. So all the abstract areas, they kept failing. And they were weakening my trust. So because they weakened my trust, I'm like, I'm not sure if you're going to survive for long, right? Also, abstract says your device can't be that, it's not that strong to weather off competition. So if you're going to build another cell phone, you got to master abstracts to be in the cell phone industry. Like Samsung and Apple has something that they got, or they understand the abstract. When really a Google phone, Nokia, whatever fucking phone out there, if they brought back BlackBerry, they all do the same thing: make a phone call and allow you to start the internet. But what does the Apple do and Samsung do that make you feel a certain abstract way? This is the abstract space. And if you're not seeing it, and I'm talking about even your personal life, even in the way you move down the street, you're not going to see it in business. You're just not. Mm-hmm. You're not. You're going to just think the world's either working for you or you've been shooting your shot and at some point it's just going to work.
Well, even like with like the phones, you know, you'll have Apple users that'll be like, oh, your thought bubble is a different color. Oh, you one of those. Or they'll have different features that are only released via in the Apple community or in the Android community. So they're doing a thing about creating like exclusivity and like brand pride and all these things. And most people aren't even conscious of it.
Well, no, it's not even more than brand pride. It's herds saying people like us do this over here. Mm-hmm. So then if you create a phone and you just try to do the same bubble, it may actually get rejection because you don't understand the motivation for the like of the bubble, as opposed to just copying a bubble. That's not business. It's what makes them like that bubble. And if you don't understand that pattern and that abstract concept that drives that like for that actual bubble, then you copying a bubble means nothing to the market.
Hey, this is real in music too.
Yes.
A lot of times we think good music is this. That's an abstract concept, because what we think a good song is, or a good musician, or a good rapper, or what good hip hop is, it's all abstract. So then, if you in the game, that game, and you so rigid about what you think good and bad is, you're gonna miss out. Like I was talking to these high school students last week, and they all love NBA YoungBoy. They just love NBA, and so if you, from my perspective, listen to the songs, you're like, damn, I don't get it. But that's because my brain is removed from the abstract of where music is gone and what it's evolved to.
Where the culture is.
And so this is where these kids, they feel this, they love it. They love this shit. They diehard fans. And non-abstract thinking, you don't even understand why. You can't pinpoint it even a little bit.
Yeah, all these young people just back in our days.
Back then,
you're missing all the abstract communication. And here's the thing: all animals are signaling abstract communication, but if you can't see it, it doesn't exist to you.
Yeah.
Like, you remember we taught a class on why it's important to have a purpose? A purpose drives abstract outcomes, right? Even religion, there's an argument that a lot of people need a religion. Because a lot of human beings, you don't want them to move by their will. They need to move by God's will, which is a will bigger than themselves. Otherwise, a lot of human beings, when they live by their will, based upon their past and their trauma, they can literally destroy themselves, kill their families, kill everything, right? So some people need religion to move beyond their limitations, right? So there's this, but if you don't know that and you go in there and you mess with somebody's religion, you might psychologically be destroying that person. You have no idea. So a lot of times, that's why you have to you have to be able to walk on people's religious floor with your shoes off with respect. Because you don't know what their background, but if you don't see it and you just go in there pushing your story, that's your abstract game, not seeing the game they have to play for their survival. Matter of fact, there's a theory that says, based upon abstract principles, it's better to believe in God than not to believe in God. You know why? Because if you die and you didn't believe in God, if you die, you believe in God and there was no God, you didn't lose anything. But if you die, you didn't believe in God, and there's a God, you lost. So mathematically, it's better to believe in God because if you die, you plan the highest probability of death. Is that cold? That's abstract thinking. That's how abstract thinking works. So I don't care how you feel like, well, my mama was this and this. I don't care that your mother was smoking weed behind the church and you saw it and you don't believe in God because of the way your mother moved. If you plan the probability of life and you realize life is already outside your imagination, then if you're gambling based upon the principles of probabilities, it's all abstract. It's better to believe in God than not to believe in God. Isn't that crazy? That's why atheist makes no abstract sense. It's like you can you tell me what happens? Can you tell me where we came from before we were here? And can you tell me where we're going after we leave? Or do we even go or leave? Can you tell me about life itself? So since you can't, the most abstract decision would be like, you probably should just roll with God for now. keep going.
Look, as soon as he said God, lights came on.
You know what I mean?
What's the probability of that? What's the probability of that? Was that coincidence or was that God?
So go ahead.
I'm gonna just start the sentence over.
So it says, without abstract thinking, entrepreneurs miss the product price game and miss the real game. You missed the real game. Remember she talked about positioning earlier? Power. You don't see the power dynamics of life. Reputations. This is your product. And timing. Time, attention, money. You won't even understand why you should do this versus this at this time. That won't even make no sense to you if you don't understand these abstract principles. How many of you guys really understood this shit before this? This is some cold shit do you ever hear about this in our community? Why it's important that we understand and master abstract thinking? Because if you want to be strategical, you say, okay, do it now. How would you know that call if you don't understand abstract thinking and patterns or your reputation? How would you know what you should choose and not choose and how to show up if you don't understand these principles here? The other day, I'm going to speak, hopefully if the family's not listening. Well, no, they know this. We both know this. My daughter's best friend, me and her father chose them to be best friends. We designed that. They don't know it. Maybe when my daughter gets older, she'll be like, y'all chose that shit, right? But right now, she ain't gonna watch me, right? So the reality is that I'm designing her relationships. Because I realized that children motivation, just like you said when you was going through your shit and you told Court and Court said, oh, that's it. And you went, oh, okay, cool. But if you have a group of friends who are not driven like that and their parents are not investing like that, and the daughter says, man, this was hard, that response could be the seed that could poison their whole future. So I designed that. So when they come over to the house, I design their experience. Because I need to reinforce what I expect from that household and what I expect of our kids. And so all of our kids are they're high performers in their grades. But me and her father we're literally controlling that narrative invisible to them because we're managing the abstracts. Parenting is not wake you up, go to bed, give you some food, put some money in your pocket. That can be abstract, but it's not enough. There's a lot of shit that happens in between that you miss these abstract cues that can cause huge miscommunication. Keep going. Abstract thinkers, go ahead.
Abstract thinkers survive change better because they can reframe the game when rules shift.
That sentence alone should just hit you in the nose. Meaning that when the games change, oh, Trump is changing. So you know when y'all watch the internet, everybody fusses about changes everywhere. You know, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it was Obama, everybody's fussing about changes, right? Entrepreneurs, that's not our conversation. Change is what we do all the fucking time. Abstract thinkers realize we accept that change is the game we signed up for. So when changes happen, we are sensing, we're watching all the patterns going, okay, we see a change. All right, invest this, move this money over here, shift here. Like, for example, when the Feds get ready to shift that money, my investment practices are going to shift to align with the Fed's practices because I'm watching abstract rhythms. I'm not going to say, oh, the change, oh, they messed up my money. If I'm responding like that, now, if I take a loss because something happened, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that variable. Okay, cool, I'll learn for the next time. Let me put that back in my equation. And that's how I'm making decisions to navigate something forward, is by looking at abstract patterns that allow me to navigate change. Reframe. Change the whole fucking game if it's not working for me. I could be in a game where I'm winning and go, this game is not going to be rewarding if I leave it alone. So I need to do this form of innovation that's going to change the whole fucking game and put me a leader in that game. That's literally, once you guys understand this abstract, you don't even have to play the game you don't like. You could just change the fucking game. But some of you guys are dying on the vine fighting in a game you didn't even design. That's not even designed for you. Next slide.
Abstract thinking is the skill of seeing beyond the thing in front of you. Mm-hmm. The latte, the contract, the paycheck.
So some of you guys, that's all you talk about, the things that's right in front of you in your business. You see beyond that shit. Go ahead.
To the bigger game shaping it. It's learning to see not just the moves on the board, but the whole design of the game.
So when he talked about AI, how does AI work? What's the intent of AI? How does if all of us are using AI, what is my advantage with AI? Like what is AI limitations? When does AI fall into a fog? What are the alternatives to AI? Could I possibly create my own AI for my own business? Like having a bigger concept. What does AI mean to society? The people so most of the people who preach that AI is here to destroy culture, no, they're using horrible thinking. If you don't understand abstract thinking, you know they're all bullshitting you. You know why they're always telling you that? Because they need clicks. You know who's not telling you that the AI is going to destroy everybody? People who are running major companies. They're not telling you that shit. Most people you see on YouTube or on TV are entertainers. From Stephen A. Smith to whatever podcast you listen to. So a lot of things you hear from them, you got to know, entertainers telling me this. What is their incentive? When you're watching Fox News, CNN, what is their incentive? Now you can code what you're hearing, but if you don't know their incentive, you're like, no, CNN said it, so it must be true. I trust them. You don't know what's their incentive. So everything you're doing, when you read a self-help book, what's their incentive? Why did they write this book? What was the motivations behind it? How did it even get to the market? Why is it even popular? What is it hitting in the human brain that makes us want to keep reading that book? If you're not decoding all that, you might just be one of those blind. You know the blind follow the sheep, whatever. The blind follow the blind, whatever the fuck they say. The blind, whatever.
Leading the blind.
The blind leading the blind. You're one of them because you don't understand abstract. I don't give a fuck how smart you thought you were up to this point. If you're not mastering abstract thinking, you're just as blind as everybody else. You just think you just got an ego that tells you you're not. This shit is so cool. Keep going.
Entrepreneurs, like families, are constantly making abstract, hidden decisions about values, trade-offs, and narratives.
So values, trade-offs, your family values. What values do you have? Your trade-offs. What narratives do you run in your household all the time? So if you watch a movie together, what's the narrative when the guy gets shot? What's the narrative when the guy wins? What narrative? How do your family respond? That's all shaping the long-term outcome of your family's probabilities. Even if you got a family that, let's say you have one nephew who breaks away and he becomes a doctor, right? And he does really well in his career. But maybe he's overworking his extremist because you don't realize he's just as bad as the hood dudes in the family. He's just went a different direction on the same tree. But you won't know that's a problem because you don't see the abstract. You just think, he made it. I don't understand why the rest of you soft didn't make it. Well, it's because you don't understand the abstract variable of how you were engaging as a family and what you designed and what's the probability of the outcome. You see, you guys get with this? Like, this abstract shit is so cold. Once you get it, you start realizing, wait a minute, I am really can be a God on this earth. Not God in the context of like, the high, but a lowercase God on this earth. Meaning I can really start to shape my world once I understand the invisible energies and movers and systems that are moving around me at all times. And every time I make a decision, or like you said, trade-offs was in that sentence. Everything you decide to do, whether it's good or bad, has a trade-off. You might be suffering from trade-offs because you didn't never pay attention. So you made all these decisions that felt all good, but never equated the trade-offs, and now your life is depressing because you never realized you made all these decisions. Abstract. Fucking abstract. Keep going.
If you can't see these invisible decisions, you can't understand why some ventures or families thrive across generations while others struggle to break cycles.
Black people if you can't decode why black people are suffering, if you can't decode that, you can't see abstract. And I promise you it's not because of white people. White people have something to do with it. But today, the reason your family can't move forward, it's impossible for another race to hold a whole race down. Could they undermine a lot? Yes. Could they make the friction harder? Yes. Could they create systemic racism to prevent our achievement? Yes. But can we overcome all those obstacles? Yes. Game theory says there's not an obstacle a man created another man can overcome. Mm-hmm. But you know how you solidify another man's obstacle? By talking about it as if it's solidified. They did this. This is why we can't. You just solidified my move. I just said check. I didn't say checkmate. And you went, oh, well, since you said check, I'm going to just flip my king on his head. No, you have a move. You have 5 more moves, dog. You can even win the game. Mm-hmm. But you don't know you can win the game because you don't see abstract and you just accept these simple descriptions of what's happening to you. You didn't do this because of this. You couldn't have this because of that. You're underfunded because you didn't have this. That's not true. Abstract says there were hella moves, you just didn't know how to see them because there was nothing in your world that taught you abstract thinking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As I teach game theory and these principles, I'm going to show you how to see between the cracks. You start saying, you mean I could have did A, B, C, D, F, G? Yes, you could have, but you were looking at all the concrete shit, so you just kept doing A the whole time. And you kept thinking, well, I know hella people to be successful at A. You don't know hella people, first of all, so that's a dumbass statement. You just don't know. There's no human being that knows hella people. There's not even our brain doesn't hold the capacity to know hella people. So you're taking a small sample size of 8 billion people and saying this is the best strategy in the world to do. Mm-hmm. Shit don't make sense. Mm. But then you'll get mad at somebody and agree to fight them because they disagree with you. You got 2 people who are using flawed thinking, arguing. It's the craziest shit in the world sometimes. Mm.
Hey, that reminds me of this brother who's one of the famous poker players, one of the most famous poker players in the game, black man, super dope, good. But what he does a lot is he forces people to have black and white thinking. He'll say, and he keeps a stoic look on his face, so it's hard to read him. Phil Ivey. Yeah. He wears dark glasses you can't see in his eyes, and he wears a hat. And he sits back and he uses his energy to kind of mug people, but you can't read him. So when he says all in, it shakes the room like, oh man, he must got the hand. And sometimes he has no hand. He's just playing the emotions, and he won't show them. The TV monitors show it. But he won't show him after that he bluffed them. He just makes him think that he had a good hand, puts it in, and keeps going. And he plays this game of abstract thinking so well that and maneuver and never shows his emotion. It's hard to read.
So I did that in a meeting before. So human beings need to look at other human beings' eye at certain emotional points, especially negotiations. So this is a long time ago. So I learned about the science of how to use your eyes. And there's books on all this shit. Like once you learn abstract, your curiosity goes up because you're like, oh, I can solve that problem? Yes, you can. So they called me into this meeting. And this is my young rebellious side. This is the dumb version of me. But I had enough knowledge to fuck up some shit. So they called me into a meeting. I was working for AAA. And I knew, I was like, I don't really like white people. I didn't like white people at the time like that. That was the young version. I was really militant, so I didn't like white people at all. So because I was young and white, I was young and black, and also too, racism was different then because it was still blaring in my face. So and I came from Castlemine, and I was like, man, fuck these white dudes. They don't know me, tell me nothing. So I was reading The Science of the Eyes, and I had to be 22, 23, 24. I was really young. And they called me in to give me a review. And I realized it was going to be 3 dudes with a suit on. So I went and got my glasses, and they were dark Ray-Bans, pure black. Dark as hell. You can't see my eyes. So I sat down. And they said, can you remove your glasses? I said, yeah, if you can remove 2 people from the room, because what you're going to do is falsely state facts and say, because we believe in it, and there's 3 of you, my brain will naturally just start to assume that we represents the majority, and you're not the majority. So if you won't play games, I'll play games by keeping my glasses on. That way I can even play a field. You know, I know I was so frustrated that whole interview because as they're having this conversation with me, now mind you, that was young, a lot of dumbness. But I understood the science of if they can't see my eyes, they stay frustrated because they couldn't see my eyes. They're trying to read, like if you talk to somebody and you can't see what their eyes are doing, a human being, you get very frustrated. You get very, very fucking frustrated. And so if a person keeps their glasses on and negotiating, it almost forces you to start making assumptions. And assumptions start to become facts in your brain. And you can use those assumptions to your advantage in negotiation. These are abstract game theory principles, right? I'm going to get into so much of this shit. I'm going to give you guys so much insight, but you guys got to sit with me and learn this shit. And then you have to practice it, and you have to learn it, you have to pay. Like for example, sometimes I will watch social media to watch abstract practices. I don't really care what they're saying. I just want to see how the outcome happens, right? So when somebody says, "Yo, you got to see this Damon Dash," I say, "All right, let me see what this fool doing now," because I already know. And when he's talking, I'm like, "Oh my god, that man needs help. He needs support. Like he's not even worthy of laughing at. He needs actual medical support." But he sits in a cloud of egotistical branding. It's hard for him to escape that cloud. But as he was talking, I was like, if you can't see the problems with this, you can't see abstract behavior. He was signaling a whole bunch of contradictions the whole time. And I'm like, okay. And so when I'm in business, when a customer comes to my door, I'm reading you all your abstracts. I'm reading you left and right. I'm already framing how I'm going to present this idea to you because you're signaling to me what kind of person you are, and I know exactly how to talk to you. Now, I may talk to 10 different customers with a slight shift because I realize that every customer walks through my door is playing a different game than I'm playing. And my job is to figure out how to get what I want while recognizing the game they're playing. I'll give you an example, and I'll close out with this. Michael Jordan, I kind of 2 examples to tie together. So they found out that the average American spends more money. The average American will spend, the person who buys lottery tickets, they spend more money on lottery tickets than they spend on movies, music, entertainment, and restaurants combined.
God damn.
Yeah, combined. The average person who buys lottery tickets, and the average person who buys lottery tickets are at a certain poverty level. Now, you may say, that if you just stop spending money on this shit, you could pay for these other things in your life. That's because you're in a different game. The game they're in is I need to spend money on this lottery ticket because it gives me hope to get to the next day because I don't have much. So anything that gives me hope makes me feel better to keep fighting to this drudgery that I have to go through. They're living in scarcity. You're living in abundance. 2 different games. So when a customer walks through my door, why are you coming through my door? What are you here to achieve? What's driving your decision making? Is it just to get a good job and do this campaign? Is it to not lose your job and be rewarded by your peers? Is it for a promotion at your job? Is it that you're the first woman hired at your company and you have to prove to all these men you're the best there is? Or is it you're LGBTQ plus and that at the end of the day, you failed in all these other areas and this is your last chance? If I don't read what the fuck that is and I just try to give you a great campaign based upon the way the market responds, I lost my opportunity. I've argued with customers over best way to serve the customer and best way to serve them. And I missed it because I was focused on the customer and didn't see the person in front of me. And if I just made this person happy and the campaign went all bad, that customer would have came back 1,000 times and would refer me to all their friends. But if I hit that campaign, it was successful and they didn't get what they came in there for, they're not coming back to me. They'll go to a lesser qualified company because that company sees them. Like you don't see this game theory thing going on and you just think about, good product and being good and servicing and you're a professional. Professional is you stuck in your own blind ass game. You don't see the game around you. That's why I don't believe in professionalism. I didn't know who the fuck is coming through my door and then play that game. Because professionalism is relative. is fucking relative. It's fucking relative. So professionalism, just you identifying professionalism mean that the game that you got rewarded for previously, you're playing that game. You're not playing the game of building a relationship with your customer. And relationship with your customers, what game are they playing when they hit your door? And they gonna tell you the game. Like, look at the clothes. The clothes are signaling some of their abstract beliefs. They let them keep talking. Just let them talk. The more you let a customer talk, you will start to see these abstract connections. Like, oh yeah, then we went this, and then we had to get this, and then we did it this way, then we did it this, and then I would never do that. And they just start painting the patterns to you. Start saying, oh, if I really want to make this customer happy, hit these marks. As opposed to, I saw another company do this, so I'm gonna do what they did because that was so impressive. Dog, that ain't got shit to do with your customer, bro. You copying the transactional, the concrete, the products. The court does it, so I'm gonna do it just like he did.
Content without the context.
Content over context. Abstract is this thing where you see the hidden motivators, incentives that's beyond. Okay, you might say she wants to be a good parent, but why? What's her reward? How does she measure that? If you don't answer those questions, then how do you even know how to give her a gift for her parenting? You're missing everything. How do you know her good parenting is her good parenting can be toxic because of her motivation for doing it is toxic. So even though she's doing everything on that list and the child comes out fucked up, it's because her motivations are all toxic, which means that even if she's having a goodwill towards toxic actions, she produces a toxic outcome. And she doesn't see the connection because she wasn't able to read the aspect of what's my incentive for doing this shit. Your timing's off. There's so much shit you're missing. You just can't see those invisible cues. And so in business, how are you running a company competing with other companies and knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and how to design the reputation, the brand, and all these different things. How are you making that fucking decision you don't want abstract? Is it just because I'm copying, this is what I heard, this is what I feel, this is what I learned, this is what book I read? What the fuck does that have to do with this customer you serving? Y'all get that, how cold this is? So following next week, when we come back, well, not next week after next week, close. We're shutting down for next week. Then we'll be back the week after that. I'm going to get into, I think game theory will be my first one, is what is game theory? And game theory, to give you kind of a rough idea what game theory is game theory is, I want to do this, but if my competition does this, then what do I do next? Right? So I'm going to start introducing all these principles of how to move. If I swing a right, do I duck or do I swing back? Which one will give me over time the highest return? Now, mind you, I'm not going to get that micro, but I'm going to give you the foundation of how to kind of start approaching game theory and these other principles that when you're running a business, you'll know you will feel this, but you got to do that. Where if you don't know game theory and abstract thinking, you're constantly aligning with your feelings, even though you think you're not. You're always aligning with your feelings. And even if your feelings are evolving, you're still aligning with your feelings as opposed to aligning with that. And business sometimes is aligning with that. Even the average business owner, when you grow your business, a lot of times as your business grows, it grows away from what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. When do you make a decision? How do you navigate that and know when to let it go or push it back towards this direction? How do you know that shit? How do you know that's a thing even, right? So all this kind of stuff, nonprofits are the worst at abstract thinking. Oh, they're the worst. They get an idea what they want to do in the world, and then at that point, fuck it, all abstract. They just start to ignore everything. And it's like, we're doing a good thing, and I really believe what we're doing is impactful. When actually, there could be some good shit there, but you got to be able to know abstract, measure the patterns, and say, based upon these patterns and based upon these outcomes, based on this long-term thinking, this is a smart investment. Or is it, we're doing this thing we heard, and we think this would be a good thing to do for these people? Trash. People don't even value what you're doing. I'm sure that with healthy food, and you got to give them an on-ramp. On-ramp is like, say your uncle eats pork ribs and everything. You're not going to get him to eat salads every day. It ain't going to happen. I'm just making this is a horrible comparison of healthy food. But you're not going to give him salad. You got to give him an on-ramp. Maybe you go from pork ribs to beef ribs. From maybe beef ribs to some chicken with barbecue chicken. From barbecue chicken to less barbecue on the chicken to now he's eating chicken without barbecue to and over 2 or 3 years you on-ramped him to healthy eating patterns. But if you go there and say, that food sucks, you need to eat like me, you just missed everything. No abstract connection. All right? Any questions before we go home? Anything that makes you go like, what the fuck? No drinking, no smoking weed to this class. That shit was hella deep. so any questions online? Do you have any questions online? We good? I'm gonna give him a second before we connect, because once he hits that button, I'm out. I'm seriously gonna be out. Like I'm gonna run to the door.
You know, I don't have a question, but I just am like recalling. So I think in my first gym location, maybe the most clients we had were 39 clients at a time. And I think about like how tiny it was, all the beliefs that I had, like what were all of the systems that got me to there. And then all of the things that had to change to go from 1,000 square feet to 3,000 square feet. And all of the people I had to hire and all of the things that I had to break. And then like coming up on like another phase of like, oh, like now we're at 90 people. And like there's all this rewriting that I have to happen to get to the next level now that we've got all these new people. But it just makes me think about like in my first space, I thought I was doing it, you know, like, and the pie was so tiny. Like the amount of people that I had to impact to be at above survival was crazy. I'm like, I only got to keep 39 people happy. In the context of business, that's like crazy. And so it just makes me think, if you can start understanding some of these abstract thinking ideas and start implementing them, you already have a superpower, because most businesses are playing so small. They only need such a teeny tiny piece of the pie just to, like, at 200, I'm a multimillionaire. Like, so it's like, it like, for me, it makes me excited, because like I have the history of like, oh, well, I was doing decent at 39 and we doing cool at 80, 90. Okay. Like that 200 starts to feel like, oh, okay, like it's not like a copy and paste. There's these transitions that have to happen, but like there's these levers that can be pulled as opposed to pulling 1 pound at a time. Like this was an exciting class to think about, like how do I use a ramp as opposed to pushing something up a hill?
And you know, my brain hurts. Like, so I'm not going to get into what I heard, because we try and go home. You can call me personally too. But you know, I heard something totally different as you was talking, because my abstract thinking. That's what's so cool by abstract. You were saying what you were saying, and I heard something totally different. And that's what I'm making decisions with that. So when, even though she said what she said, and she says, no, I'm struggling at this, I heard a whole bunch of gaps. But when you see abstract, because it's like there's certain things she said that was assumptions, and they were also linear. And there was also this idea of stating differences that's not necessarily, it's based upon perception, not necessarily differences. And so I am not gonna get all the detail, but I heard a whole bunch of different stuff she didn't hear. And when you just see abstract, that's what's gonna end up happening. You'll sit in a room and a person is gonna tell you a whole story. You hear, you literally start mapping out a whole different conversation. So now if she turns to me and goes, no, can I talk to you one day about business? Now mind you, it's not for me to go and be like, yo, I heard some shit. Because then that's my ego trying to look for value with her. And it might actually backfire and turn into, she don't talk to me ever again. So what I would have to do is wait for her to say, because she needs to struggle, because the struggle is going to make her stronger and have ownership of these lessons that she's going to learn as a growing entrepreneur. But what's going to do to me is it's going to say, when she shows up, I'm listening to her on a different level, and I can engage her with even deeper, richer questions to get to even a richer type of richer probabilities, right? A richer hypothesis, as opposed to if she came to me and I just started reading what she's asking me based upon a recipe that I've learned or a book I've read or something I've done, and go, yeah, but when this typically happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. What you realize is, like, if you ever watch a coach draw plays and the players run the plays, there's a big gap between the play design and the way they do the plays, because of all the different variations of things that's happened in the different games in their minds, the stories they tell themselves, their background, their history, their athletic skills. So in the end, you're supposed to just do this 1, 2, 3. Why you do 4, 5, 6? I don't understand, right? And he sat in the room, read the plays. We did it in practice, but when the game starts, and now the crowd's there, the sound's happening, the lights are on. My reputation in practice was inside of me. Now my reputation is outside. Everybody's looking at my reputation now. right? My contract discussions are happening. A lot of shit's happening. All these different things. Even when we win, and the reporter comes around and goes, "All right, Court, what you think?" And then when the microphone goes by me, they go, "Hi," and keep walking. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, okay." When I get in the game, I need that microphone to slow down and say, "What's up to me?" Fuck all that. I'm tired of Court getting all the goddamn conversations. You see, all these things are happening, and if you're not reading all these abstract things, you might think, "No, you guys just need to play harder." Hey, check this out. When you go talk to them, both of them, can you talk to Nana too? Just do that for me. It seems like Phil Jackson was a hell of an abstract coach. A lot of shit he did. If you ever watch when they talk about Phil Jackson, it's never like he ran the X's and O's. They're like, yeah, so he got his Zen. He was showing us how to like collaborate. He's showing us how these things, because he realized that these things won't work if you don't get these things. So when she was speaking, I'm hearing these things, not what she was saying. I heard everything she said. I can repeat it back to her, but I can also say, this is what you missed. This is what you assume. This we need to look further into. This doesn't really make sense to me. When you start looking at your business like that, it's a cold game. It's a cold game. That's what I said. So the next few weeks, I'm going to really stay with this game theory, this abstract thinking. My goal is to get you to see an invisible layer, not the visible layer, which makes, because even when she was speaking, she spoke to our visible layers. She didn't speak to our invisible layers. All right. As they say in Hong Kong, I'll see y'all next week. Or week after next.